and I will start admitting people at 8 o'clock. So that'll be pretty fun. But just in case we get into any kind of cool conversations we can have behind the scenes, you know, and stuff like that. Hey, Dom, how are you doing? How are you catching up? Catch up with me. Oh, let me introduce you guys really quick. So Michelle Szynskie, this is Salted Culture down to the bottom. Christina Hatcher and Dominic Hatcher, Chris and Dom for short. And they run a social media platform or a media company platform where they do their hosting and interviewing all the artists and stuff. And they've been around with me for a while. And so they've put up with my long hours of conversation, long hours of yapping, and long hours of not making any sense to make some sense at the end of it all. So I've always told them that I was going to make sure that they're around. And so here they are. And then Michelle, I met through the Parachute Goddess Project, and we had just a beautiful connection. And then I found out she was a cognitive behavioral therapist, and she has psychology background, education, and she's been in the industry for so long, and then she's written so many books, which, by the way, I have your book coming in. So it's supposed to be here yesterday. I just forgot to, Amazon didn't send it in yet, so they're late.
Which one?
The first one.
The first one, okay.
Yeah, I'm starting at the beginning. Start at the beginning, okay? I was hoping to get it right. But Amazon didn't deliver it. So that's their fault. And so anyway, so I met her, and she was down here in Orlando for an event for the PGP in January, and that's when I had the first meeting for Fink out in the public, and we were coming in and doing all the stuff before all the COVID happened, which is basically what we are trying to do now with this. And so she came up from Orlando. She so sweetly drove with her family up from Orlando to come and speak at the event about the importance of mental health and emotional health, and share her story and things like that. And so it was just really important for me to ask her to be a part of this. So, you know, I just kind of want to let you guys know on who she is on that. And then Sarah down here on the bottom, she's been around with me, just listening to me for hours, and is assisting me in all and every kind of making sure all my detailing stuff is done, all my crap is done. So, you know, everybody's been doing stuff. And then Miss Yolanda over here, who's driving, just literally got stuck in a grocery store with the lights powered out. So she's on her way home. Right, I know. And so she's on her way home, but that's life, right? That's what happens, and that's the reality of it. And how do you deal with it? How do you whatever? Here she is. So I'm super excited about you guys. I'm going to introduce Nicole. She's coming in right now, and Will. So we got them. That's the other two part of the team, so you guys kind of know real quick. Hey Will, hey Nicole. Nicole is was my assistant director, and basically my super emotional eyes and everything else I needed her. Not even just that, she's way more than that, and she knows that, just like all of them are. And then Will is genuinely, obviously you guys saw the results of his work, so it speaks for himself. And then, you know, and then her guidance speaks for itself of where I was at and the team that I had behind them. So this is, you know, and then we have one more, Casey, who's going to be joining us later on. But she was also, Casey Ellison, she was also a very integral part of this and helping us in the behind the scenes. And a huge shout out to Vincent for coming in and helping us a little bit here and there. But so you guys kind of know each other, and we are ready to go live. So I am getting ready to go live, and I am admitting people, and I'm getting ready to share on Facebook. So let's do this. Give me a second, guys. All right. We are sharing on my timeline. Boom, boom, boom. There's that. Bear with me. This is where the fun part is. And I believe we are shared and ready to go. Yes. Yes, we are. This is the link. Whoops. Let me just add this link to everybody really quick. They can join some in too. Boom, boom. Hi, everyone. Bear with me for a sec. Boom. All right. Link. Bear with me. Zoom share. Where's Zoom share? Zoom share just left me, guys. Bear with me. There it is. It didn't leave me. It didn't leave me. Boom. go live. I will edit everything later, add a title on Rebirth Project. You guys, this is why I need somebody else technical doing all this for me, because as y'all know, I have so many things that I am great at. Technicality on computers is not one of them. But here we are. I made it work. Awesome. Some of you are joining in, and I'm going to be adding some people in. So those of you who are joining in, just mute in for a minute, and we will get back to you guys in just a little bit, but we'll give you a shout out as you're coming in. I'm parched, by the way, so my picture is on here. Anywho, thank you guys all for joining me in. My name is Adela Hittel, for those of you who don't know me, and I am a local artist here in Jacksonville. I'm an upcoming rising artist. I'm a conceptual artist, and I am super proud to admit that, finally. It took a little while, right, Will?
Took a hot minute, but hey, we're there. We are there.
Yes.
There. The process is long, and that's the whole point of all of this in this conversation, is the process is long, but we can all get there. We can all make it if we have a good support system like I had, and if we have just a good mind space that we can learn to navigate our own selves and just navigate this world. And that's kind of what that whole video was for me, and what this whole experience is for me, and what Project Human is for me. And that's what I kind of hope everybody gets out of that. So those of you, I'm going to mention it again, those of you who are joining in, just do me a favor and mute yourselves for just a little while. That would be awesome. And then, yeah, and so we will have more people as they're coming in, because this is a live meeting, an interactive meeting. This is the thing that I've wanted, that we started in January, where it was in February, and then COVID ended. And I really had to take the time and figure out what was going to be the best way to do this, and when it was going to be the best time to do this. And this was it, because, well, it is National Suicide Prevention Month, and what better way to kick off something that really is genuinely so important to my heart, so important to so many people. And it's time to share it. It's time to talk about it. And so I decided to be as raw as I possibly could be. I'm really excited about a lot of stuff. I'm going to mute some people if I possibly can. Mute and boom. There we go. There we go. So there is, so I want to introduce a few people who are joining us in, and just ask them a couple questions. And then I am going to let our hosts and come on in and take over and let me stop talking, because then I'll drag this out forever, and they know that. So this is why we have professionals who come and do their jobs. So again, my name is Adela Hittel, for those of you who are joining in, and I want to start with introducing you with Mrs. Michelle Szynskie right over here. If you'll do me a wave for me, she will be coming on and introducing herself in just a second. And I have Salted Culture to my right over here. They'll wait for me over here. There's Dominic Hatcher and Miss Christina Hatcher, Chris and Dom for short. Mr. William P. Cook over here, looking so fly. Hey, hey, hey. Miss Nicole Labat. Can you just, so I don't mess it up, please?
I had to unmute real quick. Labity.
Nicole Labity. She's fabulous, and we'll get into that over here. And so this is really my crew right now that kind of kept me together and where I needed to be. I need to give a huge shout out to Miss Sarah Beardall right down here on the bottom, because she has genuinely, she's been there with us to put together through the notes and listen to me and put up with a lot of my stuff too. So a lot of the yapping that I do. So a lot of these guys have let me process my way and come up to what we were able to create in here. So I'm admitting people as they're walking in, guys, so bear with me. Oh boy, I'm gonna master this, you guys. For my first time, I think I'm doing a really good job, just an FYI. Here we go, boom. And let's go ahead, and is there anybody else I need to give a shout out? Oh, and shout out to Vincent, because he came on, he helped create pieces of that project. Don't worry, Vincent, you're always getting a shout out. Doesn't matter how much you helped a lot. So FYI, everybody matters. And whether you like it or not, you're very, very welcome, sir. And so I kind of want to start off asking my team just a few questions before I hand it over to Salted Culture, because well, let me start off with Will. Will, my dear sir.
Hello.
when you finished the project, what was your ultimate feeling and result?
I was unsure. I knew we had like a flame in a bottle type scenario, but I didn't know what that was. And I have to say, you might remember this. I texted you and I said, Adela, we just made something really cool. We just made some art.
You said
And
something powerful. That was the
something
word.
powerful.
Yes.
That was it. Yeah, I did say powerful. But I do remember saying too that we made art. And I knew that this is something, it spoke to me for sure. And I mean, I've had my struggles in the past and it was just so powerful. And I absolutely enjoyed making it. It was so much fun. And then just working with the whole team and everything, it was great. But I knew as soon as we finished it, and even that was just the first draft, we made so many revisions and everything. In the first draft, I said, this is it. This is exactly the vision that we absolutely 100% wanted. So I was super stoked about it.
I was too. We didn't even have to literally revise anything in the final edit except the glitch that happened.
Yeah,
and
it was
that was
weird
it.
glitch.
That was the glitch. It was just the glitch. So that was just ridiculous. Nicole, you guys got to see it last night. I sent you guys the link, and so I am eagerly awaiting to hear what your feeling and thought and the result was, because obviously you've been there for the process.
So I have only seen enough to make sure that everything went as smoothly as we wanted it to. And then I stopped it because, like an expectant mother wanting to not know the gender of the baby, I was like, I'm going to wait and I'm going to watch it with everybody else. And I'm going to let them see the tears and the excitement. So I have seen the parts that I wasn't there to record, and it's beautiful. And I got teary-eyed already. So I'm going to try and save my makeup, but I was already teary-eyed today.
I already got my own because I made my own self cry. I'm not even kidding. So I'm preparing you. You should bet. You
You
should.
go, Nicole.
If
That's
you
for
did
you.
it.
You go,
Right.
Nicole.
Okay. So there's Will. Look at Will's over there with his. I love it.
I got you, Nicole.
We're always prepared. You guys see how well
Thank you.
how well prepared my team is. This is how well prepared they are.
Always ready.
To the tissue.
Teamwork.
To the tissue. Michelle, you and I got to experience each other from two different perspectives and two different worlds and two different artistic expressions that genuinely go hand in hand with what you and I do as individuals and professionals in our own rights. And what was your thought for the results? What was your thought?
Well, I cried. It was beautiful. And one of the things that I appreciated so much about it is how raw it was, because you could feel the emotion of what you were trying to present. And I really appreciated that, because one of the most important things is that we're comfortable being raw and authentic with our emotions, our struggles, our trials. We have to be raw and authentic. And you did a beautiful job.
Thank you so much. Yay, guys, I'm so excited. And I'm asking you, Mr. and Mrs. Salted Culture over there, what were your thoughts? Because you guys know me and know, all of you know me way more in depth, so you understand more of the story behind it. So that was just a little disclaimer, you guys.
It's going to be hard for me when everyone's watching it to keep myself together emotionally. Let's just say that. So I think that it's, you've always been so good with storytelling.
Yes.
And, and I haven't met William, but I've seen his other work as well, especially stuff that you've done with him. And I'm a little upset that I didn't get to be a part of the project up until today. No, but seriously, like, I'm really, this is needed, and I'm, yeah, we're just ready for everyone to really discuss it, and, for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
Not just the little clip, the little teaser
Yes.
that everyone got
Oh my
before,
God.
but the actual full story.
Right. So I did do an experiment, and we did a version of 4 where we shared, just test marketed basically as to what people would think about it and where they would be, you know, going or feeling or all that whole process, because I wanted to really make sure that the message was conveyed. And so I'm really glad that you guys got to see that and feel that. I want to go ahead and ask Sarah, because Sarah has been around and been a part of it for so long as well, and we go quite a bit back. What were your thoughts and feelings on the final draft?
I'm just so proud of you. Just from somebody who's been in your life for the last 5 or 6 years and been here and seen your struggles and seen your achievements and seen you face your fears, and from somebody who's gone through stuff myself, it's just an inspiration. You've helped me in ways that you'll probably never understand. And it's just a blessing to know you, and I'm so ready to let everybody see this, and I'm so ready for you to be able to go home.
Oh, we're not supposed to do this yet. It's not even 8:30 yet. It's not 8:30 yet, guys. So anyway, Yolanda, Curtis is on as well, and she made it home. She's not stuck in the grocery store anymore. So she made it home, and I'm so glad she's there. But she and I go back about 7-8 years now, in 7 years in hair school, and that's where I got my cosmetology. So she kind of knew a little bit before you guys knew the artist, before you all kind of knew me. And when I met her, I looked at her and I was like, you're my sister. And she thought it was crazy, and I have that effect on people. And here we are 7 years later, and I was kind of right. And so I wanted to ask, you were there with me the night we got to see the final version. And so I do know a little bit, but I also still, what were your thoughts, final thoughts?
Listen, okay, y'all, the people who haven't seen this, you guys are in for a treat. It is moving. It is brilliantly done by everyone involved. It is beautiful. As someone who has some mental illness and has been through a lot myself, it's very relatable. So even if you don't know Adela personally, you just feel that same walk. So it's really cool. But because I know Della personally, I see the future in this video. Like I see her, I see more in it about when she does go home. And so I feel like it's bringing the past, the present, and the future all wrapped up in one. And I'm just excited to be by your side and watch it unfold. And yeah, I'm just excited for the journey in itself. It's everything that you're going to talk about today is wrapped up in it. So I just love it.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I want to give a birthday shout out to Mario Scott over here. He joined us, and today is his birthday. And it was super awesome for when we talked, for me to hear and find that out. So happy birthday on my birthday. And that's super awesome. So thank you for joining in and coming in, and I can't wait to hear what you think about it and all. So everybody can just, give him a, like, this happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yay, I love it. Awesome. So we have about 15 minutes before we're going to launch this. I am going to hand it over to Celtic Culture, the appropriate host, and they're going to go ahead and start the actual, interview part. That's the professional part of that. Okay, you guys? There you go. Take it over.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Doing what you do best and talking.
Always.
That's why, we love you. But as she said, we are K-Town and Diesel, Chris and Dom. So we're known as Celtic Culture. And we're excited to be here tonight because this is a very important discussion to have.
Very.
So we're going to jump right into it. And, Adela, let everyone know, what's the setting of your story?
So I have to learn to mute and unmute myself. The setting of the story is my personal setting from 5 years ago, 2015, when I decided that I was absolutely not worth of anything. And then I decided to reclaim my past, which goes back to all the way in the 90s that I don't even know. And so the timelines in the setting is just between the reality here and the reality of the past and the future of where I want to be. Yeah, so, but the physical setting of the project was here in my house, because that's how we do that.
Okay,
I know, right?
okay. So pretty unique to be able to do a film right in your own home.
One little room, by the way, guys. FYI.
So I guess what's kind of like the arc you're trying to like portray like through this whole narrative that you got going on?
The ultimate arc, and basically the ultimate message of the story of the film, of anything, is hope. It's hope in the self. It's hope in humanity. It's hope that whatever your struggles are, and like genuinely how deep they are real, and to dissuade them, to not acknowledge them, is the death of you. And so I learned that such a hard way, and we don't have to. We genuinely don't have to. If we find a way to communicate and to express, which is what this allows me and what this does for me, then you find a way to navigate your life. And so it's taking what you are genuinely struggling the most and going like, okay, fine, I got it. I'm taking it to where I'm supposed to take it, and I'm going with it. Like, some point, there's got to be something. Some point. Lucky penny.
When you created this, when you have this in mind, who is your target audience? Who do you think should and will watch?
Everyone. I have a law. It's a law. It's a universal law. And those of you who know me and my laws know that I have a very, very few laws that I follow. And the number one law is that I do not do anything if my son cannot be a part of it. If he cannot experience it, if he cannot see it in any shape or form. And my son is 9, and he was the first person to see it. And my husband was the last person to see it, to be honest. And I have my reasonings for what I do. And if I can show that to the closest people in my heart, then it proves that it doesn't matter. It's every human. Like, okay. It's genuinely humanity. That's what's at stake.
With that, you have a team now. So, we get to let's ask a little bit about, this experience for Will.
So yeah, so I guess this is kind of, we talk about this all the time too. So it's kind of like, mental health, looking at it from, I guess, from a male perspective, or, looking at the mental health, of men, like, and emotional wellness, how those things are interplayed. Like, how do you think that's perceived, or, by the world at large, I guess?
I think it's great. And I can speak to the fact that Adela definitely helped me. I remember I went through a dark phase in my life, and I think as men and as guys, I know I personally tend to bottle it up. And I think a lot of guys tend to do that instead of talking about it. And I did have a few guys, friends, that were going through things as well that I would open up to, but it wasn't something that I wanted to ever acknowledge. And I think that this is something that it can be universal to a lot of people, and the fact that a lot of people will be able to relate to it, especially men. And I think for men, on the mental health aspect, it's important that they open up and that they acknowledge that they might be struggling with an issue so that they can address it.
Absolutely. What do you think was the hardest part for you when doing the project emotionally?
Emotionally, I mean, I'll be honest, it never really hits me until the edit, because on shoot days, I'm in shoot mode. I'm focused on my shots and things like that. But for me, it's like when I sit back and I look at the final thing, that's when a project will always hit me, even if it's just a first draft. I sit back, I pull it up on my big screen, I just sit back and I watch. I'm not working anymore. I'm just visually there. And that's when it hit me the most of how powerful it was. And as far as like a personal struggle for something of it was just, you know, wanting to give credit to the emotion that I knew so many everybody on the team put into it. So that was definitely a struggle for me.
Absolutely.
So like back when you when you first like got the script, when the script was done, that was all that existed. Like what was your kind of process like attacking it, like specifically like from that moment?
That's an easy one because even though the script, it was kind of funny because like I got the script and I'll be honest, like I already knew like kind of what it was going to be because Adela, like this, you know, from the shoot time to the edit and to its completion, it hasn't been that long compared to the ways that Adela and I've been talking about it. I'll tell you this like cool spot, this cool little shot. Adela made a painting a long time ago. I left it in the car. I wish I brought it up. I might go get it later. But it was of a visual that's in the film. And I remember she painted it. I said, that has to be in whatever we do. It has to absolutely be. And I will never forget, we set up the shot and the scene just so happened to be a perfect spot for her house. I remember when she first moved in, she showed it to me and I said, that's it. And she's like, look, and I was like, we both knew. And it really hit me in the edit when I looked at that shot on my computer and I was like, oh my God, after like 2 years, that's the shot that we wanted. And there it was, sitting right there. So the script really wasn't that much of a surprise to me because I knew exactly pretty much how it was going to go down.
That's awesome. I love when it comes together that way.
What was your favorite part of filming it all?
Oh man, I have to say, I mean, I love doing, you know, fun stuff. So definitely the underwater shots. I'm a bit of a film nerd, so you know, getting the cool camera angles and stuff. I didn't have an underwater housing, so the most fun for me, I think, was taking a freaking mixing bowl and putting it in the water with my camera in the middle, and then sinking the bowl down so I could get underwater shots at the risk of my camera. But it was totally worth the shot, and to me, that was definitely a fun part. But then also just kind of seeing where it was going to go, because I think for those of you who know Adela, you know anything can go anywhere. And I love that aspect because it always opens up creativity. There's one thing to be planned. There's another thing to just be too planned to where things don't ever happen organically. And with Adela, there's always a plan, but there's always room for creativity and there's room to expand on that plan. And that day was filled with so many different creative ideas between me and her and the whole team that we definitely explored. So I very much enjoyed that.
I want to interrupt just a little bit because I want to direct some of those questions to Nicole too, because I forgot to, Monday. But I want to direct some of those same questions to Nicole. What was your favorite part as coming on as a director? And we've had some conversations, and as well as your thoughts on the script when you got it. Because really quick, you guys, Nicole's an award-winning director, and we'll get into a little more introductions later when they do some stuff. But I just want to ask you the same thing on there, because she was an integral part of that.
So I don't think I was necessarily surprised by the script, but we had a little bit of a discussion before, but just to reiterate, I did need a little bit of clarification because I wanted the conversation to happen of what's important in this moment, which details do you need to be in this film, like why are you stressing about this particular line, or why did you put the notes here? Like, what significance does this have to you? Why does this need to be in there? Because those are the kinds of things that I need to look for. And those are the kinds of things that had us get really, really good shots. There are some shots in the film, and as soon as we saw them, like completely unedited, just like, the camera's like this before the shot, completely unedited, just kind of going into it. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's the one. And it's because of those conversations. But I come from theater, so I'm a theater director. So when I've seen scripts, they've been very, very technical, down to a finger movement, down to what name is on the book in the set piece or whatever, like they've been very, very technical. And Adela is she knows her own story and she knows how this was supposed to play out. So the script was kind of just a song that she couldn't let go of because of the lyrics. And she was like, that's all I needed. So I thought that was interesting. And it was cool because it's like challenging to somebody who walked in thinking, I'm going to get a script and I'm going to know exactly what to do with it. But it was a very different kind of script. And so it was challenging, but in a good way. And like Will said, Adela is full of creativity, and you can go in thinking one thing and she'll be like, actually, here's the plan.
Yeah, we've experienced that.
So like, and so that kind of leads me into more. So that's exactly what I was going to ask next. So it's like, so the three of you guys like trying to keep this kind of perpetual motion machine of ideas and creativity going. Like how was that maintained like during the whole process?
Because
like,
sometimes that creative process can be crazy with a whole lot of creatives together.
Yes.
A bare bone crew that knows the vision flows for sure. That's the biggest thing. So many times you get big sets and not everyone's read the script, but they don't know the vision. A script and a vision are two totally different things. The vision had been explained very much more in advance, previous to the conception of the script. So everyone was very in tune with what the mood was going to be. Even though the track came late, we knew like what it was going to look like. The track didn't even come until a little bit later, but as soon as it hit, we're like, that's in line with the vision. And so because it was in line with that, everyone knew like what the look was supposed to be like and where to take it, which was the best part. And the script really became a guideline that was, when in doubt, reference that.
But we all kind of emotionally attached ourselves to Adela and Adela's
Absolutely.
story. And when all three of us, not only are we really close, but we all went into that understanding what the heart of it was. And when you walk into something going, this is somebody's real actual story that we have to tell, it's a little bit different from like walking into direct Harry Potter. It's a little more intense and a little more like caring, and we had to take a couple of breaks, and like we were there as friends. When we were like off the clock, we were all friends, and we all needed to care for Adela in that moment, or in those moments that she needed us. So it's a little bit different of a creative process when it's so emotionally bearing on the whole creative team.
Yeah, definitely.
Not to give a little plug here, but originally, when I was in college, I first found out about Adela's story when I was doing a student documentary, actually. And I knew she had a story and she had a past, but I didn't know a lot about it. And I was like, I was just supposed to interview somebody for an 8-minute short documentary. And that film's out there and it's done incredibly well. And I know we've all seen that on the team. And I mean, it's an 8-minute documentary and I have 50 minutes of footage. So, I mean, it was a very long interview. So I was very familiar with her past for sure. And, the whole team had watched that documentary as well. So everyone was very in tune with where Adela was coming from and where we were trying to head.
Well, Adela, I see.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. I do want to just point one more thing out real quick. Yeah, it is 8:30, and this is where we're going to get ready to launch, and they're going to give us that kickoff. But I wanted to point out that even though that this was my story, when I picked the team, one of the reasons in the way I work is long-term goals. And I've said that to so many people so many times, and in the understanding of what that is. But that long-term goal isn't in the success of whatever is coming or whatever it is. It's that long-term goal of myself. And that's ultimately what, when I picked the teams and the people for this, I needed them to be there for themselves rather than for me, if you will, because I didn't need them to carry my emotional baggage. There's no reason for anybody to carry someone else's emotional baggage, right? And so I do want to put a huge disclaimer to this, that whatever you feel off of this, it is not meant for you to carry as that powerful entity. It's meant for you to understand it, experience it, feel it, so that you can let it go. And that's what they did for me. they sat there, they watched me through this, and Will again has been through this process with me for a long time now. And we have footage of hours and hours of the documentaries and things that we've worked on for so long. And this is genuinely the fact that I'm debuting my own first moment of something that I got to create. I would not be who I am if it wasn't for these humans who became the extensions of me and the limbs of me. The things that I'm missing and the things that I'm not seeing, they see that. And the perception I want the audience to perceive, or the way I want them to feel, they give me that ability through this process that we do. And it's so important for me on that. And so I do wanna say that in that way, and because you guys, again, that holding emotionally, and when you come in that creative process, it isn't just about let's get this done and these stories that I want to tell and these humans that we have to impact. It matters to the detail of who they are, not the details of their story, but who they are and what they want, and their breath and how they want to be perceived. And if we can allow that and ability to express that, then again, it's free of judgments, because it's art. Humans are artists. Humans are artistic creatures and creative. So that's where we're at, and that's what we're doing. So here you guys go. I'm gonna sorry to interrupt, that's what I do, guys, but I'm gonna let Celtic Culture finish off, and I'm gonna take a second, and they're gonna go ahead and take about 3 to 4 minutes and give Mrs. Michelle an introduction really quick. Give her about a minute just to say who she is professionally, so that you guys know who she is here before you guys see this video, because we do have science and education behind us in what we're doing and why we're doing it. This isn't just to, hey, we do this. This is genuinely for the help of everybody. So I'm gonna log off for just a second to prep the launch, and I'll see you guys in just a second.
All right. All right, Michelle. So, thank you for talking with us, of course, and for being part of this amazing event that Zella is doing. Let's start off with the reality of how accessible is therapy for those who don't know where to start for coverage.
Well, fortunately, there's lots of therapy out there available. The problem is access, because it's expensive. Not everybody can afford it. Insurance doesn't pay for it. But just about every county out there has a mental health division in their social services, and you can get access to free therapy, free psychological care. If you can get Medicaid, they'll pay for it. It's very important to know that whether you have the funds or not, that therapy is available for you.
So, I know, one of the things that can be kind of, I guess, overwhelming in and of itself is even knowing when you're at a point where you kind of need to go to therapy. So, I mean, is there any kind of, guide you can give to people, say, hey, if you're, experiencing some of these things or having these thoughts, specifically, then maybe you should look into it?
Honestly, I think therapy is necessary for anybody who just needs a little help to get past anything that might be holding them back. And when I say holding them back, I mean truly being able to be comfortable in your own skin and be able to be truly authentic to who you are and what's important to you, and to be able to verbalize clearly the things that you might be challenged with. Everybody can benefit from it, but you must reach out and get help if you're struggling moving forward in your life, whether it's professionally, relationally, or just in moving past things that might be holding you back from truly being your authentic self.
I mean, I can say that that's probably especially true right now. I think a lot of people are struggling to know who and what their self is during all this craziness. So,
Absolutely.
If you are out there and you're looking for a therapist, what should you be looking for the right therapist for you? Because we know, there are a lot of options.
There are a lot of options, and I think this might sound really simplistic, but I think it's important that you actually treat it like an interview when you're talking to different therapists and different options out there, because there's psychiatrists, there are cognitive behavioral therapists, there are old traditional therapists. There are so many different styles, and you really need to be able to connect with your therapist. And you really want to treat it like an interview. They're supposed to be there to help you. So you want to talk to them, make that connection. If you can make an emotional, mental connection with your therapist, it'll go a lot further than just sitting in a chair talking your problems, which will go nowhere.
Awesome. I'm ready to go.
Okay. All righty.
Ready to go. I do want to just really quick give Michelle just a minute. Could you just introduce yourself and what your background is? And
Yeah.
really quick on that before I launch this.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Michelle Szynskie, and I professionally went to school for social work, and I was a social worker for a number of years, working with children, child protective services, which is a dark part of the world. I went on and did continuing education for modern applied psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming. I have personally been impacted by suicide as well as other mental health, and it motivated me to do more. So I have worked very hard so that I can do pro bono work for homeless teens and young adults, to help them to move past living in survival mode to living life and choosing life.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So you guys,
You're
it's that time. It's that time. So it is live on the website. I am about to hit share on the Facebook page for Project Human. If this thing just did not mess it up for me, guys, really quick. Nope, we are going live. And then I'm going to do a live through here, so everybody is going to mute but me. And I have posted it right there. I am getting ready to post the link on my personal. Guys, I'm now nervous, just an FYI. Now I'm nervous. There's no, I wasn't nervous before, but now I am. Here you go. Boom. And I'm about to share my screen. And the links are shared. It's live on YouTube, you guys. And here we go, sharing screen. I am parched. Sharing screen in YouTube. Here we go. Share. Boom. Sharing. And we're live, guys. Ready. Set. Go. Struggle with feelings. This is my story. Mind is powerful. It does not discriminate. Past. I'm the strongest. Choose to talk about my mental health. I am expressing my mind and soul, what my body is. I have committed to this path all on my own. For my dreams. I know why I'm here, and I know what I have to do to not drown in my own fear. I truly have survived the war. I'm ready to fly. This is my rebirth.
Oh, when you come into a path, I guess you were on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, the grace that takes you home. You don't have to tell me once or twice, wonder why we're here. We just gotta stop the flood before we lose it all and drown from fear. But let me tell you, I'm ready to fly.
Hey guys, I'm pausing for just a minute because my is it glitching?
Rainstorms and storms, I fought the war. Now it's time to go home. Let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I survived through rainstorms and storms, I fought the war. Now it's time to go home. It's time.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I'm pausing for just a minute. My team's telling me it's being itchy and glitchy, so I'm just going to restart it really quick. Bear with me for just a second. Bear with me. Bear with me. This is why I need my technical difficulties here. It is live on the website. It's live on the web or on the on the social media, so you guys can start if you want to watch it there. But I'm working on it right now. Hold on, working on it right now. We're just gonna do this and try it this way. Bear with me. My name is Adele. Okay. Really quick, can you guys hear that?
My name is Adela Hittel, and I have a story to tell
Thumbs up if you can
about
hear
a
that.
girl who was so lost and scared.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So bear with me. Thank you. Thank you. This is why I don't do this part. All right. Share screen now. Screen 2. Share. That's the wrong screen, guys. Stop share. What is
My
Can you
name is
guys
Adela
see it?
Hittel, and I have a story to tell about a girl who was
See
so lost and scared, who needed healing in a way the woman was never prepared to give. The struggle is real in one's mind, and this is my story of deciding to live. The mind is a powerful entity of its own. It does not discriminate, and it attacks even the strongest of us all. I choose to talk about my mental and emotional health because this is the only way I know how. I am expressing what is in my mind and soul and what my body is willing to do to achieve happiness. I have committed to this path all on my own for my dreams to take me home. I know why I'm here, and I know what I have to do to not drown in my own fear. I truly have survived the war. I'm ready to fly. This is my rebirth.
Oh, oh, oh. When you come into a path, I guess you were on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, a space, the grace that takes you home. You don't have to tell me once or twice, wonder why we're here. We just gotta stop the flood before we lose it all and drown from fear. But let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I've survived through rainstorms and storms. I fought the war. Now it's time to go home. Let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I survived through rainstorms and storms. I fought the war. Now it's time to go home. It's time to go home. It's time to go home. Walking through the dark alone, no clothes, striking a light. Burning for the heat, the fire, the sparks, the love to keep me alive. I'm captured for a gift, the thrill is how they live. One-way track to hurt and to forgive. So I lift my head, open my arms, give a sword to my heart. I said, let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I survived through rainstorms and desert. Give me water. Walk me through the hill. Wait until the sun shines upon us as we cross the haunted hill. Pick me up above the desert. Take me water. Walk me through the hill. Wait until the sun shines on us as we cross the haunted hill. Time to go home. Time to go home. Time to go home.
Thank you for taking the time to watch the beautiful creation that is my mind. I am so proud of this work and what we've accomplished so far. I'm even more proud that I have faced the fears that I thought I feared for so long. Mental and emotional health are real, and they are a struggle in every human's life. Advisory: I'm not a medical professional, nor do I have any medical expertise in any field. What I am is a fighter. I am a fighter for myself, and I am a survivor. I am a human who struggles to navigate through this world just like anyone else. No, I'm not crazy. I'm not imbalanced. I'm not anything else that you may think. What I am is someone who is trying to find a way to speak about the emotional pain, the mental suffering, and the physical ailments that plague us every single day. I want to talk about my mental and emotional health without judgment, bias, fear, or my life. I want everyone to have the freedom to express that without the fear for their life. This is about a moment 5 years ago that could have ended me. With therapy and a great support system and the mission of my nonprofit, I truly took charge of letting go of fearing all criticism, and letting you interpret the human that I am. It is your absolute right to perceive this project as you perceive it. It is my absolute right to express it as I have. And that is the absolute beauty of artistic expression. Please follow Project Human Faith, a new way to think, on all of our social medias, and go to our website. Okay, guys, so we were having some glitchy issues, and that is my stuff over here. I did have some internet outages yesterday, so I'm working on extra Wi-Fi, but I also made a boo-boo with all this other stuff with everything and paid the wrong version, but the live stuff is up and ready to go. So please, I've already shared everything with YouTube, so take a minute to watch it if you haven't. And those of you who are live, this is again just live streamed through here because this is for those of you who've joined on time and got on here. But it's live, the live version, everything is on and ready to go. And we're really, really, really freaking proud of it. So, you know, I want to do me a favor and give everybody that was part of this a huge, huge round of applause because that was so awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're going to pause yourself and mute yourself for a minute.
Okay.
There you go. Boom. And so, yeah, so everybody, thank you all for those of you who have joined in. Those of you who registered had a link in the passcode to register because we were having some issues in between here for those of you who want to join. There is an open link that we've sent. Those of you who are trying to join through the other link, you guys got to read, okay? It says register, and then it says open link to join. So FYI, that's part of the process of therapy is, you know, being able to see for your eyes. Anywho, welcome. And let's actually start the full discussion about mental and emotional health and the process of everything. I understand that it was a little bit glitchy and a bit on this other end of this, but can we go ahead and start off a bit of who and, well, I'll hand it off to Keitan and, you know, do your thing, let them introduce themselves, and let's do a little bit
Real quick,
about
guys, real quick, just so everyone knows, I shared the link to the video in the chat here so everyone has access to it on
Perfect.
YouTube.
Thank you
So
so much.
if you need to
Awesome.
see it, go right to it.
Please do, you guys. Again, just remember that this is part of something that we've tested on individual basis and done it. And again, as part of life, it always works out. There's some glitches, but at the end of the day, it's not enough big of a glitch to stop anything from going on. So just an FYI. I ain't worried about it. Don't worry about it. Keep moving. Watch the videos. So go ahead, K-Town or Chris. I know her as K-Town, guys. Chris and Dom, go ahead and take over. And I would like to start with Michelle and let her introduce herself and share her story a little bit. So if you could go ahead and start off with her, that would be awesome. We can't hear you. You're muted. Or I can hear you.
There we go.
Okay. I was like,
Okay.
did I mess up again?
No.
Y'all, I need listen, I told my husband I had to do this without him because he just saw this like 15 minutes before this. And so he's like, do you need me to stay up here? I was like, nah, it's cool. Like, I can do this. It's simple. Like, it's a mute. I'm like, really? And here I am. So maybe I should have kept my tech guy. Just saying.
All right, so now everybody has seen it. The project is out. You know, Michelle, give us a little bit on how you got involved with this project.
Well, I met Adela a while back working on the Parachute Goddess project, met through Leilana and our daughter, my daughter, granddaughter. We were all working together on that. And it was funny because Adela and I were sitting at the back of a SUV while she was working on makeup on Brenna. And we started talking about the conversation about mental health. And I said to her, I said, the thing for me is that mental health needs to be treated like diabetes or high blood pressure or anything else. And she just kind of looked at me and I looked at her, and it was like, we understood. We were right there on the same page. There can't be a stigma to mental health. It can't be successful in getting treatment when it's treated that way. We have to treat it just like we do a headache. We have to treat it just like we do diabetes. We have to treat it like it's a physical ailment so that people feel comfortable talking about it. One of the things that I love about that video, Adela, is that it will inspire conversation. That's what it needs to do. It needs to open the dialogue for people to feel comfortable talking about their struggles, talking about those days where they felt the darkness weighing down on them. And I'm so grateful that Adela has included me in this project, and it means the world to me.
So like, so I guess kind of going off what we were talking about, the accessibility of mental health and knowing what to look for, and you know, for people trying to get started in that, like what's, I guess, like the one kind of tip you would give someone who's looking to, you know, get more into exploring their own mental health and betterment?
Well, you know, the first stop is always going to be somebody's medical doctor. You know, that's your first contact. You have a medical doctor. If you're dealing with whether it's depression or anxiety, the first person that you have accessible to you is your doctor. Talk to them about the struggles that you're having, whether they're small or big, it doesn't matter. Start talking about it.
And in talking about it, discuss with us a little bit about cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
Cognitive behavioral therapy is really about changing the way that we think, changing the way that we perceive experiences, the way that we respond to the experiences of our past as well as the things around us. You know, we all have distortive views of ourselves through experiences, positive and negative, that we sometimes need to step back and say, wait a minute, that's not reality. That's just the way that I'm seeing it. And that's just my experience is telling me that this is the way it is. And we can literally retrain ourselves in how we think about our life and how we respond.
It's funny. I always describe it as my little box. I'm like, I have to step outside of my little box and see it from other perspectives in order to really get the good view of it. So I can definitely see that now. As you know, as someone who is, if I see someone else who is struggling with that, you know, how can I be a positive person for that and help someone? You know, it's like you said, mental health isn't always discussed so well. So how can we feel comfortable discussing it with someone else is even a suggestion, or, you know, something to show that you're there for someone in regards to mental health?
First and foremost, we have to listen attentively, not just hear, but listen attentively. Acknowledge what they're saying to you, acknowledge what they're feeling. Tell them that it's okay for them to be struggling. It's okay for them to be having challenges, so that it makes them feel safe to continue that conversation. They need to feel safe, and they need to feel like the people that are around them actually care.
That totally makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. So, you know, how about, like, this is for everyone, you know, not just Michelle. You know, for each one of you, what is your go-to when you are needing some help mentally? When you realize that you're mentally taxed and you need some help, what is your go-to immediately to help calm yourself?
Go ahead, Michelle, you start off.
I have to tell you, my first and foremost is literally breathing and listening to my heart, the physical heart, not the metaphorical heart, but literally listening to my body, breathing and listening to my heart rate, working on calming myself so that I can think clearly. That's my go-to, is my breathing and my heart.
How about you, Will?
Stepping back, I mean, I know for me personally, work has always been a huge source of my stress. You know, at least currently over the past like 2 years or so, and definitely just removing myself, even if it's just 5 minutes, you know, and I have my own vices of, you know, music or whatever it is. It's something that's just polar opposite of what I actually do for work. And even if it's just 5 minutes, I just feel so much more refreshed and just able to try to close my brain out of it. It takes time to try to shut my brain out of it. I know that's something I constantly struggle with and have to work on.
I think that's a creative mind in general. So we all have that switch that's kind of difficult to just turn off sometimes.
For sure.
How about you, Nicole? I know you're pretty busy as well. When you're feeling overwhelmed, what's your go-to to calm yourself?
I kind of overwhelm myself a little bit. And I think that can be a kind of weird coping mechanism that ends up stressing me out anyway. But my go-to is actually something I learned when I was teaching preschool. The second that emotion like takes over, the minute that you feel out of control, it's simple sentences. It's identifying the problem. It's get up, get out of bed. Let's do this. Let's go. Like, get up. You have to eat food. You have to drink water. Like, just simple sentences, just kind of one step at a time, little baby steps to get me out of like whatever deep, dark place I've taken myself to. Often it's my own hands on the wheel to crazy town.
Yeah, yeah, sadly we can do that to ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's not me, but it is it's like baby steps, and it's like such simple sentences. Okay, get up. Okay, put your phone down. Okay, get off TikTok. Whatever it is.
And how about you, Adela? I know, you know.
Never get off TikTok. Never get off TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't have TikTok. I don't have TikTok problems. That's 99 problems, and TikTok ain't one.
Yeah. She's like, I got enough issues. We don't need to add TikTok to it.
Have you
That's
just
like me
seen
with
that?
Pinterest. I like refuse to like dive into it because I know if I get on it, I'm just going to be lost on it forever. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that and lose my whole day. So, you know, but with you, Adela, obviously we see, you know, you use art to help yourself cope. But what does that go to? Like when you're really feeling it, you know, what do you do to help yourself?
Number one is breathing, like Michelle said. That's the number one thing I learned. So I have personally taken therapy, and I have been to plenty of therapists, and I have taken medications. I have been through the process, which is why now I can share what I'm sharing and say what I'm saying. I've been through that whole process. And on my last therapy experience, I wasn't prescribed medications. I wasn't prescribed anything other because it took 10 years to find this particular one that I was looking for because I didn't want that. You have to know what you want first. And I found her, and one of the biggest things is right now, particularly, like, I'm sitting on the floor, right? So I'm sitting on the floor in my room, and this is genuinely as coping therapy mechanism, like one of those things. And I knew that I'm not nervous about the video. I wasn't nervous about the glitches. I'm not nervous about any of these things, right? But I still live with anxiety. I still live with the body, for my body to start panicking. I still live with all these processes that it's not something that you just go, oh, I'm cured because I did all this and I'm here and I went to therapy. You still live with them. Breath is the absolute one. And so I sit down and I breathe and I ground. And that's something that I believe is really important for humans to do in any shape or form, wherever they feel comfortable in that moment. I've sat down in the middle of stores. I've sat down in the middle of like clubs of places. I've sat down anywhere that I've needed to get like collect.
Ground yourself.
Ground myself so I could breathe genuinely, because to me it's so important to get that breath of clarity. I call it the breath of clarity. And then you exhale the negativity. You just, like, I know what I want, and then you breathe it out. But then I get to sit down and ask myself 3 questions. And those, they're really, really important to me because, again, through this therapy session, as I sat on the floor and she would talk to me about breathing, and where cognitive behavioral therapy was really introduced into me because it's what I was already practicing. I just didn't have a word for it. I didn't have access to it. I didn't have resources to it. I didn't have knowledge to it. I had absolutely none of this to be able to do this. And through her, she, you know, we sat down and she would tell me these, and we planned a whole step of how I was going to heal myself. And one of those things, it just doesn't work that way. This worked. And so I'd sit down and breathe. And through that therapy, I realized 3 questions. Whenever I'm in my state of zone, it's absolutely insanity, and I cannot recognize reality from wherever I'm at, I sit down or I sit in the back, I separate myself and I take a deep breath and I ask myself 3 questions. Number 1, what am I thinking about right now? Like, what the heck am I thinking? Genuinely, like, what am I thinking? Oh my God. And I'm going to use these examples because this is my real life experiences. But in my head, I'll be, this just happened. It literally just happened. And it's a process that people around me didn't understand. But right next door, they're doing roofing, reconstruction roofing. And somebody dropped a huge, poof. It shook my house, and it felt like a bomb was dropped in my home. And I'm in my room doing my stuff, putting my clothes away, and it just, doof. I wasn't here anymore. Like, I was nowhere here mentally. Instantly, I was back home where the grenades were dropping, where snipers were coming, where things that I just did not understand because of this one thump, this one sound. And so I had to, like, whoa. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Like, breathe. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Holy crap. My heart is pounding. Like, I can't breathe. Like, I'm recognizing the signs of anxiety and the attack that's about to happen. Now, mind you guys, I've had to work on this really long time. And I used to have 4, 5, 6 hour panic attacks on the floor by myself. I can now work on myself and say I can get through it in any situation because I really, really took the time to work on it. It's not an easy thing. It is genuinely one of the hardest things to do, but it works. And it took a long time, 5 years. It took a long time. But changing that mindset works, and changing how you process, how you think. And so you go, what am I thinking? Okay, well, that's happening. I think that's happening. What am I feeling? Like, oh my God, I'm going to die. what's really happening? You're holding your hanger right now with a dry, warm cloth. So I start thinking about the reality. It's dry. The feeling, how does it feel in my hands? How does it smell? How does it taste? Like all the senses of your body to bring the conscious awareness to reality.
Trying to give yourself that reality check.
You have to give, like, when that happens, you have to, and it starts with that breath. Like, you have to breathe to actually be able to ask yourself a question. But then you have to ask yourself those questions because you have to understand where you are. And when you understand where you are, you go, okay, I'm not freaking out. I run downstairs. I'm like, what happened? My husband's like, oh, this and that. And I'm sitting here freaking out. And he's like, and he's laughing at me, you know, and not in a ha 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 your thing way, no, in any shape or form, but just my reaction, like it was a thump outside.
Right.
But that goes to show you the process of understanding someone's. To me, my literal instant reaction was, I was back home. That's where I come from.
Right.
And, you know, and considering like you just, and how difficult all of that is to deal with, and like you said, you're kind of still dealing with it. So like, what made you want to share, you know, this story, you know, considering everything, like how difficult you were just saying how it is?
Because my whole life I've known I was different. And I know that we've talked about this in general in some ways, and we all feel some ways in that way, right? But we're all so scared to say that. We're all so scared to say that we feel different for whatever reason, right? Whatever reason it is. It doesn't matter whether you're meant to succeed and to be the greatest directing actor, actress, whatever, or greatest, you know, sales. It doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. But you feel like you matter. You feel like there's some, like you feel like you're important.
Right. Absolutely.
And through society, they just look at you and go, well, no. You get down here. And then eventually they tell you you're crazy, you're negative, you're a bad influence, and that you're not worth living. And then you create a construct in your mind that you pick up a knife and you decide that, you know what, you're right. And it's not worth it. I genuinely, like, I put in there, I said, I'm reclaiming what I lost. I don't even know what I lost, right? I don't even know what I lost. But here's what I do know. I am reclaiming the breath that was stolen from me, or that was given up freely in my own whatever unknowingly way. I mean, that's the only thing I can do.
And you know, that leads into really, you know, you could have went a million different directions with it, you know, and even as a creative, you could go a million different directions with it. So what do you think really inspires you to create? Like why is that your outlet?
Humanity. And the reason it's because of the people around me. There's just, humans create, like, I couldn't have created this if it wasn't for Will. Let me just put this out. 2 years ago, I collapsed in Will's arms. And it was because I had a panic attack my last moment where I was like, I can't do this. I'm getting ready to put on a show. I'm getting ready to do this huge event and all these things a month before. And I've been working for this. We've been prepping for it. He did all this work for it. And we meet at the event place and I just like bail. Okay, like I lose it. I couldn't walk. I opened the door and I collapsed. And I was still in therapy and I asked the question, I was like, why the hell am I so afraid? Okay, like why am I so afraid? And it wasn't the understood, like I thought it was success, because that was always the question, why are you afraid of success? But why am I afraid of me? I'm afraid to exist as I am. And that is all these things that you guys see right now, all the ways that it is. And if it wasn't for Will to be the sturdy pillar I needed to just hold that moment, for me to get that clarity and be able to give me the courage to be like, fuck it all, okay? And me cancel everything, stop everything, to end up being here, to meet a year later, almost, not even that, to meet Nicole, who ends up being my wicked hands, who ends up having and putting all these little pieces together and inspiring something different, to the conversation I've actually had with each and every single one of you that is actually on here right now and who's watching genuinely through that. Because at the end of the day, the artist that wrote the song, Natasha Bloom, she wrote the song called Journey, Going Home.
No.
And my whole life, all I've ever wanted to do is go home. And when you can have a human who speaks to you in a level that you've never met through a piece of creation that's their pain, That's their moment of something that you have no idea, but it inspires you to make something that might inspire someone through your own pain. There is no other way that, like, I would have spent my 10 hours of this production, like literally the 5-6 hours we spent in my tub in my room. There's no way I would have. Those humans are the humans that made sure that the vision of humanity was the priority. It wasn't my story. And it's not my details of the story.
Other than this project, what do you think has been some of the projects that you're most proud of?
Hard question. So I've been on a lot of projects. Okay, the most proud of is, number one, it's just Project Human in general as a nonprofit, and the project I am, like the human project I am. That's to give self props, guys. Make sure you give yourself some props, okay? That's what happens. Number two, I've been a part of, I was part of the Parachute Artist Project for the last 1.5 years, and that has helped me grow and evolve into the artist I am, because I got to go through and meet these beautiful humans who helped me through their stories and connect with Michelle and connect with so many others whose stories and journeys and their strengths, not that my war is and what I've went through is to take anything less of that, but their own, and in the way they process it, I'm like, who am I to talk sometimes? And it's just, it puts things into perspective in ways. And I have to give a shout out to Will for a couple of things that I've been able to work with him on, and just him proud of. Number one is the Pirates movie. I was gonna say the Pirates of the Caribbean. I just watched that the other day, right? Sorry, Will, but it's the pirate, right? Right? Make sure I say it right.
The Last Pirate.
The Last Pirate. You guys, do you see how I'm already spaced out? The Last Pirate, right?
Lead actors in the house, actually, by the way.
Right. So we have like the 3 actors in the house. We have the assistants in the house, and we have a lot of crew, a lot of the people I know. So a lot of the creatives are on here. So I'm gonna just let y'all know this, okay? I say it, you got it live, and you can record it, and you can replay this back, okay? That is the best crap you're gonna see out of Jacksonville coming out, and I'm not like, mark my words, but that's what, who do I know, right? Anyway, that's what I said. So booyah. So super, like, your level and creativity, what you did with that was amazing. And then we've worked on a bunch of other projects. Documentary we did together, that's something that is still developing and working on, and all of these things. What else? There's something else that I'm proud of. Oh, I want to give him a shout out for an Amazon coming out feature film, Haunted Roots, right, for the Halloween. This is one of our, he directed and produced it, right?
Okay, stop with my stuff.
Right. So
the amount of fashion shoots and work that you put together. Okay, so since she's just gonna talk about me, then I'm gonna talk about her. Okay.
Yes.
The amount of fashion and the artistic, the things that she can do with makeup, with hair, with fashion design, some of the dresses that. My wife's model as well, and we've been lucky enough to actually shoot some of Adela's designs before in the past. And it's so easy to shoot Adela's designs. You see the dress, and you know exactly how it needs to be shot. Like you know the vibe, you know exactly what you need to go into. So the talented just things that her hands can do is just boundless. I mean, the only thing you can't do is video. That's why I got you.
Dude, like, hey, but you have to listen. You have to give me props, okay? Because I did that little clip, and I did the live with Nicole, and I did the live with Jonathan, and I added a little clip. So I got my little check mark right there, and I'm gonna take every guy. So that's the thing, right? Every check mark counts. It doesn't matter how big it is. Did you do it?
That's right.
Did you go from beginning to end? And if it's 2 seconds, boy, you got 2 seconds of your life that you just did. Figure it out.
Look, it's good. Speaking of that, so we heard from Will and we heard from Nicole earlier about, working and kind of maintaining this creative cohesion between the three of y'all during the shoot. But I want to know from your perspective, especially since you've obviously worked with Will a bunch before, how was it kind of keeping that, because your spontaneous creative vision, maintaining that with someone who knows you, but who also, obviously Will has his vision, his way of doing things too. So how was that for you?
Okay, so Nicole, raise your hand. Wicked hands. There she goes. Will, raise your hands. Raise your hands. You don't have wicked hands.
I do jazz hands.
He has jazz hands. So I have code names for all my people. We all have little quirky things. We all have code names. When I meet them, it's one of those things. That's how I met Nicole, wicked hands. Anywho, so the way it worked was I had Nicole. So the things that I lack and the things that I'm not good at and the things that I know I'm gonna miss, that's what she was for. And when you are in a moment of something, one of the things I've learned from being on multiple sets and here in Jacksonville, working with multiple people, is the amount of control we want to have on what we're doing, that we do not allow the other human, not director, producer, but the other human to experience the story in the moment through your eyes and through their eyes, and then to see the things that you're missing or to give you that input. And when I was missing that, because I went to places, Nicole instantly knew what to do, how to bring me back, where to go, what to do. And there's, and you guys know how much I love control, like control, right? But it's the trust that you build in the team because they read your PDF file, okay? Like they did. Will, pardon me, Will, when I started working with Will, I'm gonna say, because it never ceases to impress me, but I test people out on all my stuff. He's very well aware when we do shoots together, when we are all together, like I test you out, I test your skills out, I test your knowledge out, I test how fast you are, what you're doing, why you're doing where, like all these things, because I want to know. I don't want to waste my time. And that was one of those things with him. And we went to do a conceptual shoot together, and this is all I can say is I'm down here and he's like Adela, and I turn around, he's under the underpass with this like shot right here, and I'm going like, you're it, dude, that's it. Like how, what? And ever since then, knowing that he would want to be as spontaneous, or knowing that they will allow me to be spontaneous, because it comes down to what you are feeling and experiencing, not what you genuinely plan out. Right. Because the plan changes, guys. COVID happened, okay? Think of that. Nobody's plans got for anything. Same for us. Because one of the things you guys don't know, so really quick, I'm going to put on this. One of the things you guys don't know about this project, right? What you guys have seen and what you guys will see is that this was scene 1 and 3. We couldn't shoot scene 2. COVID happened. So we have the beat to what we wanted, and we were missing the heart. And instead of prolonging what we knew was something good, we decided to, okay, how do we put this together? I had Will edit his own version first with what he thought it was going to be. I sat down, went through with Nicole and with Sarah, and we went through everything, every detail, asking their inputs. How? What was the little tick? What was the hand signature? Why was that necessary? What will that emote? How will that translate to you? How does that work to you? And then after the visions were sent, literally our final version, 7 version, and it's the 8-minute version of what we already did. Like, and Will, how long did editing take you?
I mean, I had editing done 2 hours for first draft. Like,
right. And so, and that's already, and that's the whole story. And that's like going to some of the quick things that we hadn't even discussed, because we had to change the script. We had to change the full script.
Can I just back out just a touch? I wanted to just give some input on that question that you asked of different creative visions. And yes, a lot of times too, my creative, direction and where I take a lot of my films is very different than what Adela does. And, same thing with Adela, it's very different than mine. However, when she and I are working on a project together, yes, she does test you initially. And I remember those times, and it was a little bit of a learning curve as you get, the first time with somebody. But like working with her so much now, I know what she wants. Like I know her eye, and that just comes with, again, I keep coming back to vision, but it's so important just knowing that vision, because then you know what that person is delivering. And I mean, ultimately at this point now, she I can't tell you how many times lately, we show up to shoots and she's like, I don't care, just do your thing. She's like, do your thing. Do your
Which
thing.
never comes out of Adela's mouth. So
no, but here's the beauty of having that trust in a vision, is that when you allow somebody to do their own thing, they thrive so much more.
Oh, absolutely.
As long as the vision, as long as you allow them to execute that vision in their way, that's where you'll see their creativity spike. And I know for me personally, that helped because I originally in the past had tons of micromanager bosses to where it's like they had their vision, I got the vision, but they wanted me to do it their way. And I couldn't get that, especially when you're working in a creative field a lot of times. And,
Right.
and that's not just me. I see that all the time with new videographers that are young, they're green, they're trying to learn. And I remember she told this to somebody even, they asked her one time, how come when he shoots for you, it's so much better than when he shoots for me? And she told him to his face, because I let him do his thing. I just tell him like the vision and say, now go film it. Go do like the shots however you want and go film it that way. And that grew me as a filmmaker so much more because it was definitely just open to interpretation of however I wanted to get it done.
Right. That's awesome. And now I know, Nicole, you had said earlier that it was, you know, different by not having, you know, everything down to the T. So has Adela's style, you know, influenced you a little differently now going forward?
For sure. It's very different going from the theater, like I said, to something open and creative and expressive. Adela is abstract. She is the human personification of the overall theme of abstract.
If Picasso was a person, it'd be Adela.
Yes. She loves everything so much, and like she is so creative in all of the ways. She paints and she photographs and she does makeup and hair and she, you know, models and acts now and directs and everything. She just wants her hands in all of it, and she is so abstract and she has so much love for it all that part of being on the creative team with her is picking the details that do matter to this project. We can be like, I love that for you, but for this, maybe not.
You have to have sound minds. Like you have to have, so I have learned, and this is what I mean about the rebirth. This is why that Rebirth Project is so important with that. Like that was the moment I learned I was an artist. And my husband's words said to me one time right after my suicide attempt was that if you had known who you wanted to be or been an artist or had the opportunity, you would have been unstoppable. And that was 5 years ago. And I was so afraid to accept that because I felt so freaking right. Like I was like, oh my God, like, whoa. But to be here and to do this right now, like, that's what rebirth means. It means literally loving everything, but then having the sound minds to when you go to your 8th black hole and they haven't discovered the first one and you land on Earth and you get your people and they're like, look, Adela, sit here, look at this and look at this. Great job, but look at that. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Good job. Because what I see and what I feel is just overwhelmed with the emotion of what I want to do, that you have to have the people to pull you back and be like, okay, let's be here. Again, that reality. Like,
but Adela has also taught me that maybe going in with a script that explains everything down to a finger movement might not be the way to go for certain projects. For certain things it works, and I've definitely 100% gone into a script and really dived in and been like, I'm not feeling this. Definitely took it into my own hands. So I'm not saying I'm like an uptight director and that I was looking for that in any project, but it's very much opened my mind to how open to interpretation something.
That's awesome.
But also just like taking the punches as they come and like going through something and being like, that was a great concept, but things have changed. Or that was a great concept, but what if we did this and it's better? And things just kind of fall in line for Adela all the time. And I tell her this, I'm like, I'm never not surprised because it just kind of like happens for her. But it's because she takes every opportunity. And even if it falls through, even if the opportunity doesn't work out, she's like, let's do this, let's go, let's win. And I'm like, yeah, take me along for the ride. So it opened me up to some things because I'm very methodical in how I do everything. I'm always like, well, maybe in a couple of months, or I need to get this prepared, or I need to do this first. And Adela's like, it's done, let's go. And
It's
I'm like,
done.
okay.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Michelle briefly, you know, having seen the video and all now, as a health professional, how does it make you feel to have these creative types shining a light on something that is so important to you?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question. The video, the reason that video works is because it was Adela being raw Adela. If she had tried to present it in any other way, it wouldn't have worked because it wouldn't have been her. For every single one of us who want to bring attention to a subject so important, we have to be willing to be raw ourselves, who we are. You know, if I want to talk to somebody about my daughter and her mental health struggles, or if I want to talk about my brother who killed himself, I have to be raw, who I am, as imperfect as that is. I have to do it raw. And it is so inspirational to see someone who is so vibrant, who has come so far in such a relatively short period of time. It is so inspirational to have that voice in such a creative way. And Adela is a creative human being. She has to be creative and do this in a creative way. For me, I'm not creative except for the spoken word. Give me 5 minutes, I can put together something eloquent. But for Adela, it's creative expression. It is important for everybody who wants to shed light on this topic for them to do it from within, from what is authentic to them, so that we can help people to open up, to speak, to feel free to speak, and to feel like it's okay. They're not broken. We're not broken. Adela's not broken. Adela's just Adela, right? None of it. I truly don't believe that anybody is broken. I truly believe that we all are who we are, and that we can learn to communicate, deal with people in relationships, our work, our personal life. I truly believe that who we are is perfectly okay, that we just have to learn to function who we are in the tools that we have and move forward. That's it.
I love that, especially being your authentic self.
Correct. That's
Yep.
super important. It's
Absolutely.
super, I think, it's neglected by a lot of people when we talk about mental health.
Absolutely. Adela, do we have Sydd coming on at 9:30?
Yes, we do. So one of the things that again is important to me, and it's one of the big things that I'm working on, is part of the biggest thing in my nonprofit. So guys, my nonprofit is Project Human Incorporated. Think, a new way to think about mental health, and it's literally what we just did, is to have a conversation. The mission is to bridge the gap between emotional and mental health through conversation, education, and a positive, tangible expression. And one of those things is that, as creative as I am, I'm also very literal, like very, very literal. And she's shaking her head down there like, yes, because I have to literally make my words match the existence of what I am. And so to communicate, I had to learn to communicate, and this is one of these things. And part of the communication is to be able to have all sides and all views. And eventually, I will get to a point where I know sign language and will be able to communicate that way as well, because that is important to me. Or we'll be able to afford to get another professional on that will be able to bridge that part of the gap, because it's very important to me. Another part of the important communication gap that I want to bridge is the male aspect of mental and emotional health. So many humans in my life, my dad including, have their demons and have things in their life that they just absolutely cannot express, because we all in society have deemed it that they are just too strong to do so. Emotionally, they're just too strong to do so, and it's too prideful to even have that conversation. And eventually, my dad did not take his life, but eventually it leads to other humans who do, like myself or my mom, example, who had, or anybody who had attempted or whatever, but eventually it leads to that. Males do not talk about it because, again, we do not offer the opportunity without judgment, fear, and bias. And so one of the people that I wanted to introduce is Thompson, Sydd Thompson, who I met through Change the Face of Depression, which is another nonprofit organization that I help and associated with. And we have him on because he just wrote a blog about losing his brother to suicide. And that had happened very recently. And the importance of having a male voice speak on that, and what his part of the mission was, that he found his purpose to be able to bring awareness to that. And that's very important to me. And so I wanted to have him join on and to share his story for just a few minutes and to honor his brother and to just kind of bring that awareness to why it's important to have male voices speak up and to just be free to do that. So I will go ahead and introduce Sydd Thompson, and you go ahead, sir. Take it over for me.
Hello, hello, hello. Some of you are familiar faces. I recognize some of you guys. I am Sydd Thompson. I am Jacksonville's oxymoron, as I like to say, because I like my horror. I'm a stunt guy. I do horror films, usually as a serial killer, but I like to promote positivity. September 11th of this year will make 1 year since I got the call that my brother hung himself. I was at work when I got the call, and it was pretty much my wake-up call. It was my, as Adela would say, my rebirth. My rebirth was from his death. I grew up in a family and in a world to where men were masculine. You don't share your emotion. You don't show emotion. You're tough, you're hard, you don't cry, you don't whine, you do what a man does, and that's it. There's no weakness, any sign of weakness. You're not a man. I was, growing up with my stepdad calling me names that you shouldn't call a child because I wasn't as masculine as he wanted me to be, but it's okay. I heard a lot of stories and a lot about Adela before I even met her. I had already fallen in love with everything that she represented before I even met her. I met her at the event, the Love Your Selfie event in Tampa. And as soon as I got there, I asked Casey at the time, I said, "Where is Adela?" And then well, that's her there. And she's over there. That's her, that blur, that she's over here. And so finally, since my daughter was with me, I said, well, she wanted to do a photo shoot. And I guess the only way I could get up to speak to it and introduce myself was to take my daughter over there to have her photos taken. And if any of you see the photos, there's photos of me in a hot pink dress with the makeup, because my 13-year-old daughter begged me to dress up, take photos with her. So I did so, as a father would. A conversation her and I had that started everything. I told her, that my point of view of things for men, today's society, for any man knows that we're told that we can't show weakness. We have to be tough. We have to be the one that stays tough for everybody. We're the one that stays strong for everyone. But I'm here to tell you as proof that staying strong for everyone, it wears you out. When my brother passed away, and all my friends and family and everybody was coming to me, and they're like, well, why aren't you showing, why aren't you, breaking down like everyone else? I'm like, well, I've got to stay strong. I've got to keep it together for everyone else. And it took a lot out of me, but it may sound weird, but his death was my rebirth. That's what made me decide that I need to let other men out there know that, man, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to need someone to talk to. It's okay to show weakness. It's okay to break down in tears if you need to. It's okay to ask for help. There's nothing to be ashamed of. In this society, I know it's hard, but the way I tell them, screw society. There's nothing to be ashamed of. To be weak, it's a natural human response. We all have weaknesses. We all have strengths. You're not going to be strong all the time. You're not going to. Suicide has crossed my mind multiple times, but then I have to sit there and think. You know, I have things to live for. So things may be going bad for me. Work may be going bad. Okay, I can find a job. You know, finding a car, relationship, money, all these things may go bad for me, but my kids need me. I have family that need me. I have friends that need me. I have people, complete strangers that I haven't met yet, that will need me because I have a voice, and I'm going to make sure that my voice is heard, because I don't hear many other men voicing their thoughts and their emotion and their story to the world to let people know, hey, it's okay. There's every man in this world. I see, just from my screen, I see 1, 2, 3 men other than myself in my screen right here. And I guarantee you there have been times that you've wanted to go in your room, lock the door, and just cry your eyes out. But you haven't. Or you've wanted to pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, I need somebody to talk to. But you didn't do it. You didn't make that call. You may have a bad day at work and you're like, man, I just really need someone to talk to. But instead you went home. Stuff like that, it builds up. Don't let it build up, because building it up, I'm going to tell you something. My brother was the most masculine man. If you think of Paul Bunyan, that's about my size and my height, that was my brother. When he spoke, it was like thunder. Like he had a deep, deep Southern voice, deep voice. And he was the one person I never thought, he was never scared of anybody. He never backed down from a fight. I never saw him show weakness. I've never seen him cry. I've never seen anything of any type of weakness. He was a man's man. He had the beard. He'd go out and he'd cut down a tree and build something just because he could. And I just spoke to him when I got the phone call that they found him in the woods, and left me wondering, well, wow, like I literally just spoke to him, and he never once said anything to me that he needed somebody to talk to. He was the strongest man I knew. So I don't care how strong, guys, even the women, I don't care how strong you think you are, or how strong you portray to be, or how strong the world thinks you are. It's okay to just not be okay. It's human to not be okay. We all have struggles. We all have a weakness. And that's perfectly, perfectly, perfectly fine. My awakening, my rebirth, was his death. So I don't know how many people in this chat have lost somebody close like that, but don't let it be a sibling that you lose to wake you up. Go ahead and be woke right now before it's to that point. Check on your friends. Check on your family. I don't care how strong they are, how good they say they are. Check on them. Be persistent if you have to. Sometimes you have to, apparently nowadays. Check on your people, because I would not wish what I feel. And they say it gets better. It doesn't. It gets further away. It don't get better. When you lose a sibling, you lose a part of yourself. And siblings, brothers, sisters don't mean your blood. I'm sure we all have that friend that we grew up with, that friend that's more close, more family than blood would ever be. Check on them, because when you get that phone call, you die with them right then and there. I appreciate y'all's time. I don't know half of y'all. I love y'all. And on Facebook, it's Sydd Thompson, SYDD. I'm always available. Even if I don't know you, I'm always available.
That's how we roll. That's how it's supposed to be. Thank you so much. We're going to do a huge, huge applause like this, guys. Huge applause. Yes. Thank you so much, Sydd. I appreciate you. We're going to take the time just really quick, and it's 9:41. I'm going to, at 10 o'clock, we're going to try to do YouTube replay through this, to try to stream the better version, and hopefully that was really what I tried to do the first time. It wasn't working well either. So, and if not, you guys have the links, please watch it. But I want to open up the discussions to those of us who've joined on the chat right now. if there's any questions you have for Michelle or any one of us in general, or if you have something you want to share. Know that this is recorded. This is live stream on Facebook. We're all, again, this is the vulnerable moment of where we are. So you're not just impacting the people that are on here, you're impacting the people that are watching the video, that will watch this video later, that will be uploaded to YouTube. Like this to me has been genuinely, honestly, you guys, my people would understand when I say this. I don't stress on my days of stuff at all. It doesn't matter what happens, right, guys? It doesn't matter. We did it. We're done. We did it. So all the technical stuff, all this other stuff, it doesn't matter because, and they'll attest to this 100%, because it didn't matter about that. It mattered about the important conversation and what we just had to have. It genuinely, this is what it mattered about, because it's something we don't have. And so I want to thank you all for making sure that it stayed. Thank you to my people. This is why I helped Celtic Culture. They kept where it needed to be. This is why I had Nicole kept it where it needed to be, and Will and guiding where it needed to be. And this is like it guided to where the essence and the vision it needed to be. What's that? That's the picture. That's the picture of Isaac and Sid. Look really quick. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Does anybody, if you want to share something, if you have your screen, do you want to raise your hand and we'll start off that way? Or if you want to comment or ask questions, and then we'll just kind of start going in order. And then I'll let Celtic Culture start picking you guys up and start doing it in your ways. And I'm going to stop talking because I need a breather.
Della, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Just a couple of things that it's really important that I think people understand. Communication. Right now, especially with, the pandemic and, all of the social distancing and everything, one of the things that's being lost is communication. One thing I want everybody to understand, and please share this with people, words are only 7% of communication. 7%. That's it. So real communication happens looking at each other in the eyes, expressing emotion, embrace, touch. Human touch is so important. It is so important that when we're communicating with people, that we're not just sitting there texting, that we actually put the phone down and actually communicate. Real communication requires eye contact, expression of emotion. It's so much more than words. So please remember that when you're interacting with people, whether you're trying to reach someone who you think might be struggling, or if you're trying to express yourself, real communication requires more than just words. And the other thing I want to remind everybody is that none of you are broken. None of you. You're not broken. Even if you need a little help, you're not broken. You just need a little help. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I need help. Nothing wrong with that. It is so important for people to be able to express themselves freely without judgment, and to remember that mental health, emotional health, and physical health are all equal. There is not one that is more important than the other. They are equal. And it is equally important to stay a balanced mental, emotional, and physical health, to take care of yourself in all aspects.
Thank you so much. So guys, anytime she has to say something, she's going to raise her hand and we stop talking, because she is the voice of reason, because this is the professional here, okay? And I don't mean that in any way. We all are experiences, but at the end of the day, this is why it's so important to have a sound mind, somebody who's got the education and the science, and to be able to prove for those of us, right, who are looked at that we're crazy, who are told that it doesn't work this way, your process is not going to work, don't you do this. But like, this is why it's so important, so that we have that, so that you are free to do this. Like, I wouldn't have been able to have this project go the way it was if it wasn't for her. So if she ever has to like give you a tip, just be like, all right, go ahead, ma'am, get your stuff in. Because again, her wisdom and what she has to offer, we have the experiences of what we're going through right now, but she has the ability to help the process. She has the ability and the resources and tools to help the process of that. And that's why therapy is important, and finding that aspect of that in the conversation. So just wanted to interject that, you guys know, because again, that control issue is there, and I needed to say that because it's really important. I see you, Dom, laughing back there, because it's really important that, again, we are the artists, we are the community, we are all that, but science has the backing, and that needs to have the word of what we need to have, and that's why we're here. So go ahead, Salted Culture, and start taking the questions and other people from wherever they need to go. So just raise your questions and they'll start in order, and then we'll take you guys. And if they can't see,
We're not able to see.
Okay, if you guys can't see, okay, I have okay, that's fine. I have Yolanda. Go ahead. I had Yolanda first.
Hey, so I'm a lot like Adela. I have I mean, not way, hold on. I wear many hats, and I have, I've also battled with like depression and anxiety, and some other things, but I've gone through a lot of therapy. I've gotten a lot of good tools. I've been through a lot, and I've educated myself a lot. However, just like, and I'm sorry because I'm awful with names. I'm so bad with names. But the gentleman who was just speaking, Della, you know his name.
Sydney.
Sid, thank you, Sid. It's important. My husband deals with some of the same as, you know, a lot of us do. The problem I'm running into is how do you communicate? And this is something we're just testing waters in because we weren't really sure. We've been married almost 20 years and we're just finding out that we're a neurodiverse household. And so, just in case, it just means that somebody is on the spectrum and like I am not. And that was something, so communication's always been difficult. So knowing that now, what's a better way to help someone with that when they're having that panic attack? Like, you know how it feels, or being depressed, and you know how that feels, and you're trying to use things that you've been taught, but they don't necessarily always work because it's a whole nother process. And that's why I think after all these years, I found that they haven't worked so great. I'm more worried about him and that,
That's
I guess,
for you,
right
Michelle.
now.
Go ahead, Michelle. That's for you.
Yeah, that's for Michelle.
Okay.
Sid, go if you want to say something. Go ahead, Sid.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can.
Yeah, I was just going to say a lot of times for men, even if they don't admit it, touch is 100% very important. I know that if I'm down or if I have a bad day, and I could just feel like, man, there's no way this day could get any worse. It's that bad.
Yeah.
My girlfriend could just put her hand on me, and it makes my day so much better. Like it's like a weight lifted off of me. But another thing is communication. Even if they don't want to talk, just let them know. Even if they don't want to talk, if they say, I don't want to talk on you, okay, well, you don't want to talk. That's fine. Just know that when you do, I'm right here. It don't matter how bad it is. It don't matter what the thoughts are. It doesn't matter how nightmarish it is. Just know that I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere.
So that's true. And I think that's true for women as well as men. But because he's on the spectrum, both of those do not work.
Right.
So I've tried those things. I've had, I have a son who's almost 20, and, I have a lot of my children's friends and stuff. I'm like that mom kids call because they don't talk to their families, and I'm not going to put any of them on blast. But so I've had to deal with boys and girls with that, but it's more about people that are more, like I said, more neurodiverse. Like, how do we bridge that gap? Like we're hopefully starting our journey in that here soon with the proper therapists and the proper the help that we need. I didn't even know it existed. Okay, I had no clue this was an issue. I had no clue that it was a thing, and that it explains so much throughout like our couple of decades of marriage, and but it's not just for him. It's for like kids. Like I know kids who are also on the spectrum. I know other adults who are on the spectrum, and it's a real thing because they will completely like engulf and just the worst panic I think I've ever seen. Like, and you don't know how to break that, I guess. And I'm just trying to find a way
Go ahead. Yeah,
to
go ahead,
be
Michelle.
there.
Let's see if there's a way or tips she can get.
Artistic expression is something that people on the spectrum work with very well. If your husband hasn't found a way to express himself artistically, and I don't mean like painting, I mean in some sort of creative way, it is a really, really good way to bridge the gap between communication and expression of emotion. And if you can help, if you know what his artistic expression is, we all have a little bit of it in us. If you can find a way that he can learn to express himself in an artistic way, it will help him to communicate his emotional challenges.
Perfect.
That's amazing. Okay.
Awesome.
Can I butt real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
As somebody who I've been diagnosed with ADD and other issues, and can definitely understand that, especially the overwhelming aspect of it. So again, I'm not a professional at all, but my go-to, and I tell everybody this, is always meditation and float therapy. So just to put it out there, if you don't know anything about it, sensory deprivation float therapy is the one place where you can turn the entire world off. And if you're overwhelmed, your senses are overwhelmed, anybody that has sensory issues or anything like that can totally understand that that's the most difficult thing to do in the world. You can go to the middle of the country and think, oh, I'm in the quietest place. You can hear every bug, every sound, every, no matter where you go, sometimes it's just all overwhelming. So I would suggest looking into that just from a personal standpoint. That's my 2 cents.
I can go ahead and concur on that as well. I wouldn't have been able to process, and this is where it goes back why I know Chris right there, and we've gone through flow therapies together, and was how I was healing and understanding, preparing for what I might have to do, whatever that was. It was through that too, and I had to learn that I am a person that I am oversensitized. And the moment I get oversensitized, I lose control. And understanding that and why, it helped me bring back the control on there. I want to take it to Mario. Mario had his hand up. Everybody, happy birthday again, Mario.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. You're welcome. Go ahead, sir. You had something to say.
Okay. I'm an artist, and there are like certain things I have to get over mentally, which is why I believe like talking can definitely help you in the most tense of situations, because your mind can tend to come up with negative thoughts, especially when it's something unintentional, or not meant to be negative. Like say, for example, this morning, I'm not going to say the name, this morning, I told myself I wanted to get back into doing photography, and I was getting decent criticism, and the criticism was good, but then my eyes caught the words, "I will not do this for you. I will not help you." And 1,000 different like negative thoughts just came into my head. Like, oh my God, I actually confided in, I was like, oh my God, I actually confided in this person and they're telling me I'm not good enough, or I'm not worth it to be helped. And I get these million different negative thoughts going in my head, and I just told myself, okay, kid, first of all, that's not what she's trying to say. It's not what she's trying to say to you. It's not what she's trying to say to you. Just talk with her and let her know that I will accept whatever help I can get. Because they're not saying that about you. They're not trying to hurt you. And that's difficult, and it's usually a difficult thing for me because I'm used to getting teased as a kid, especially in middle and high school. I had to learn to tune. I had to learn to tune all that negative stuff out. Because this is something that I don't think I've ever told anyone. I started having suicidal thoughts at 11 years old. Because the one thing I didn't want to be to people, especially to my family, is a disappointment. It's to be a huge burden to them.
Well, I'm sure that your family would say that that's not the case. And, you know, that's
Right.
why, you know, Adela really put this project on. You know, I think that was a big part of it. And, you know, how does that make you feel, Adela, with, you know, hearing from someone who's, you know, impacted by it, now feels comfortable to discuss this?
Well, I will go ahead and say I'm the person. So Mario, FYI, when you need to call out Adela, you call out Adela. I'm the person who said it. I said I wouldn't pose for him. I said it. And it is like, let's be real what it is. And there is reasons. And again, it comes down to, it's not personal for what it was or why. But understanding comes down to understanding yourself and understanding what you're capable of and how you're able to help someone that's in a better sense than just posing for them. And so for me, posing for you, you know, it's not like, yeah, sure, I hope you'll get some great shots. But the actual thing that what you want to do is learn more about the process of it too, and all these other things. And so again, then you recommend something, hey, let's do something else, or let's do these things. And so I had to learn to say no. Like, that's one of those things too, right? I had to learn to say no without feeling guilty or without taking it personally. And that's been a huge thing for me. And I'll say this because somebody told me that. Somebody told me 3 years ago that I was like, hey, can you help me with something? Like, I need some help. They literally said to me, and I have it in writing, it but hurt my feelings, and it said, I don't have it budgeted in my time. I was like, what do you mean? You could pour some time. And it's not the affording of time. It's what value will you genuinely afford in the time that you do give to that human. And I know the value that I want to give to the humans around me. And I love all these other things. And so it makes me feel so good. And I'm so, so thankful that I knew where you went with what I said. I knew where, because I know you too. We've had our one-on-ones. Like, we've sat down and had our one-on-ones. So I knew. But at the same time, I couldn't be more proud of you to have this conversation in this way also, or to bring it up, or to have this where you have to express what you felt, and for it not to be taken aback and going, well, that's not what I meant. It is what it is in that way. And it's so important to recognize that aspect of that you needed to express that, and then recognize it and be like, well, I should just talk to her, or, you know, because that's how I work with everybody. So I'm one of those people, I'm as raw and as open as and honest you get, as you got to call me out, or you better do it. Why? Because I learned through that process. Go ahead, Michelle, I saw you raise your hand. We have a couple, really quick, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to give it 5 more minutes because we're at the 10 o'clock mark. So I'm going to give it 5 more minutes because, of course, we're doing such a great job and having a great time that this could go on for hours. But 5 more minutes. So go ahead, Michelle.
Mario, I just wanted to point out, you might not realize it, but what you did when you were rethinking what she said versus what you were hearing, that is the essence and basics of cognitive behavioral therapy. It is what it means to stop, and even though you're hearing one thing, what does it really mean, and what are you thinking, and what are you feeling, and you should feel extremely proud of yourself that you were able to just stop and say, wait a minute, that's probably not what she's not saying I'm a burden. She's not saying I'm worth it. This is just her not being able to say I can help, and giving her the opportunity to communicate that, what her perspective was, is huge. And be proud that you were able to do that. Be proud that you were able to stop and say, wait a minute, I need to give her a chance to talk about this. And at the same time, not getting lost in the feeling of being a burden or feeling not worth it, because you are worth it, and your talent and your gift is worth exploring. And I encourage you to move forward and explore those talents of yours and that gift of yours, because it is part of who you are. And being able to stop and pause for a moment to rethink that is the basics of cognitive behavioral therapy, and you should feel proud that you were able to do that.
Yay, Mario! I'm gonna take really quick. I'm gonna take 2 more people. So Nicole was next. I saw her raise her hand.
Hi. I just wanted to add real quick to Mario. As a director and as a manager, that's what I do when I'm not directing. I've noticed a lot that people are very, very hesitant to come forward with things that are hurtful to them, or, you know, they really, really get lost in those thoughts. And it's somehow, some way in society, we've decided that asking why is bad, or coming back and asking for feedback or criticism, or just saying like, why do you think that? Why did you say that? And in some ways it can be bad. And don't get me wrong, you should not come to somebody sideways and be like, why'd you say that? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if a director tells you, thank you, I don't think this part is for you, it's okay to say, can you give me some feedback on my audition? It's okay to say, hey, Adela, do you mind telling me why? Or is there something else that you think we could collaborate on, or something like that? And honestly, like, they don't owe you an explanation. That's not necessarily part of their job function or their daily function, and people should be allowed to say no without an explanation. However, asking doesn't hurt. And if you're really worried about going down that rabbit trail, which you seem to have successfully gotten yourself through, but I know that sometimes for me, I can't get myself out of that, and I just have to ask why. I feel like for the most part, it's okay to just ask and see what happens, especially during the creative process. I feel like a lot of creatives kind of need to think through those answers a little bit, especially coming from like a place of power. Like, rejecting somebody isn't something that usually happens lightly. It's usually a lot of debate. So just as a little piece of advice, I feel like if you're willing to go so far as to shoot your shot and say, hey, can you model for me? I feel like you can probably ask if it's okay, like, do you mind giving me some feedback or something like that? Whatever you feel comfortable with, obviously. But that's just my 2 cents.
And he did, and that's the thing is, and he did. And that's why we were able to have this discussion, and that's why we're in here able to process that. And again, I had that same moment. We all have those, and it's really, really just awesome to be able to talk about that. Anybody new, before I take any old questions, or anybody, you know, resurfacing, anybody new have anything to say? And if you do, unmute yourself. If I don't have your, I have iPad 6 here, and I don't know who that is. So if unmute yourself if you want to say anything, and I'll see it. And if not, I'll take one more question from anybody else, and then I'll have 1 or 2 more things to say, and then we'll be all set. Anybody? I see Yolanda and Sid going like this right here. So if you guys can do 30 seconds, Sid, okay, go ahead, Sid. She said do Sid. Okay, do Sid. Okay.
Well, I don't have a question. This is for Mario, if you're listening, bro. One of the guys that I follow, his name's Gary V. I don't know if anybody's heard of him, but he will tell you, A, you don't need validation to succeed, my friend. I love you dearly. 2, you're going to hear 100 no's before you get that $1 million yes. So don't give up because you get a no. Keep doing what you're doing. Do it harder. Do it stronger.
Yeah, Gary V. Okay, so really quick, guys, pinpoint out Gary V. This is why I like Sid and why we all connect and why it works out. Gary V. changed. The reason Project Human exists is because Gary V. asked himself a question at 30. What do I want in life? And as I sat there, right, as I sat there on my 30th birthday in my, you know, miserable mind of self and self-pity and loathing and all this stuff, I was like, what do I want? And I saw it, and Yolanda's laughing because she's laughing because she knows, they're all laughing because they know me and they know that's how it happened. So So as I sat there doing that, that's what happened. I sketched it in 2 hours, and it took me 3 years, literally to this day, to bring it to existence. And Scott knows because he's shaking his head. They've been with me for 3 years in this talking it out process, in this communication process, guys, okay, for 3 years before we were able to create something that fit every single one of our communication styles. So the process is not easy. And going into it is not easy, and asking those questions is not easy, but it is worth the questions. It is worth the time to ask it. And as Michelle said, the biggest thing you can give somebody is that time, like when somebody needs you to talk. That doesn't mean that when you give your time to someone, you give it with other thoughts on your mind. And I say this in the best possible way that I possibly can, because one of those things is, and I say this to Mario, I wouldn't have spent hours with you on our mental health days if I didn't want to do it with anything other than the time to give to you, or to Will, or to Nicole, or to Scott, or to Yolanda, or to AJ, we haven't done it yet, or to Celtic Culture, you know, or to Sarah, or to all these humans in there. It's because I decided that that human is worth the investment. And that means that if we all of us, just right now, just a few of us that are here, decide that the human that's right here in front of us talks to us and is like, I need some help. And you go, okay, what do you need? I'm not going to think about my house. I'm not going to think about what I look like, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what I need in any shape or form. What do you need? Oh, you just need to vent right now and go off. Boo boo. How do I help you plan murder? Sure. Okay, if that's what you need to do right now, let's plan it out. Okay, so let's think of strategies. Do you think it's jail time? Yeah, it's jail time. I don't think we should do that. Do you think we should do that? No, I don't think we should do that. Okay, so let's go ahead. What can we do right now? Well, let's breathe. Fine, let's just breathe. And then instantly that human right there, literally you help them process something that was so overwhelmingly huge. And then you go, okay, did you breathe? Yeah. So how are you going to deal with it? I'm just going to slap him across the head. Okay, great for you. Does that work mostly? Yeah, it does. Will that make some sense for now? Sure. Got you through another day. But those are the moments where you have to start and literally, like, when someone says, hey, I need to talk to you. Hey, do you have a minute? Hey, really quick. And if you don't, you say, hey, I'm so sorry at this particular time, I can't. But when you say, hey, I will get back to you, get back to that person. It may be 24 hours. It may be 48 hours. It genuinely may be a week. And it may be a week, because you do not know what that person is going through. Don't take it personally. It's not they hate you. It's none of that stuff, right? It's you don't know what they're going through. But if they don't get back to you, and I say this personally because the reason why I went to that space and I decided I was going to go is because I asked someone for help. I asked that human for help, and they said, sure, and I'll call you back. Never to be heard from again. I don't care how long I waited 3 weeks for that phone call before I made the decision that I wasn't worth it. 3 weeks. And I'm not saying I needed anything else. You said you'd call me back. That's what you said.
Yep.
Literally, that's what you said. And if you can't do that for someone, this is why this project and this time, why it took 3 years, why it took so long, because if you can't take that responsibility, you're not ready to be able to go through this process and to genuinely help someone else, because you're not helping yourself yet. And it's just the truth of it. And if you understand that, and you can help yourself, so that you're like, hey, I can be here for you and just you, then you can go, okay, whatever. Because then you figure out how to deal with that's what it needs. Because that call back, I'll call you back, I'll talk to you later. That's when you get that call back, just like Sydd did. That's when you get that call, just like I did. That's when you get that call, just like so many of my people that I know on here got the call, because they said, I'll call you, or you said, I'll call you back.
It's not the call you want.
It's not the call you want. So if you say you're going to be that person, if you say you're going to be that, it doesn't matter. And that's why I say, I don't care, but I care. I don't care, but I care. And if you can just say, I care, you change someone's life. So go ahead, Michelle.
It's also super, super important to validate whatever they're feeling. Whatever it is, whatever they're saying, whatever they're expressing, they need to be validated, flat out.
Doesn't matter if it's wrong. Validate it.
Doesn't matter if it's their own distorted view of something. It's still real. It's 100% real to them. It's 100%. And you can't dismiss it. You can't say, oh no, that's not right. That's not how it went down. No, you say, I completely hear you. I hear that this is how you're feeling. Validate them. Repeat it back to them. Say, this is what I'm hearing you say. And validate them, because those feelings, those thoughts, those whatever they are real as a brick landing on their head. That's how it feels, and you have to validate them.
It's as real as this moment that's happening right now, you guys. It's as real as your breath that you're taking right now. Like, it's as real. Like, if you can remember this moment, so when somebody's telling you something's happened, it's happened to them. Period. Whether you want to agree with it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you want to perceive it or not, like, it's happened to that person. So acknowledge it and then allow them and help them process it. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what therapy is for. That's how we're supposed to do this. And ultimately, that's what Project Human is, and that's what this Rebirth Project was about. So guys, I'm going to give Celtic Culture one last minute to say their piece and give themselves, let's give them a round of applause, because again, this is why I keep professionals on point. I give them what I want, and then they execute what I want when I try to go out ways. Do you see that? That's how you succeed in a team, guys. So go ahead, I want to ask you actually, guys, a question. Through this process, Christina, you and I have had a bunch of talks, but through this process, what has been the biggest change you've seen in me? Well, from both of you, because you guys are always together, so it really, honestly, it's together.
From since we first met you?
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what's funny is I never know what to expect from you. Yeah. And that's the thing that I like the most, is because you do think so outside of the box.
Correct.
And you have really, I would say I've seen you grasp that line between holding strong to what you know you need, but still being that person that cares about what others need. You know, I think that you're finding an amazing balance between those things. That's the thing I've seen the most growth in.
Yeah, balance for sure. Yeah.
And
you're
it's
still
beautiful.
You're still you. You still have that spontaneous, like I said, self-sustaining kind of creative matrix you got going on.
And you don't want to lose that, because that's important. You know, you may not do something full time, of the different things that you do, but you're such a creative person that those outlets have, I mean, all the people that have been talking tonight have all came to you from different parts of who you are.
Like
So yeah, it's that's pretty neat to see. And we always end up meeting new people through you, which is pretty impossible for me to do in this city. So I love that.
Listen, I have people I like to impress. I've wanted to impress them the last 2 years, so kudos to me. You guys, accomplishments matter to me, and I give myself kudos, okay? So yay!
We do hope that everyone follows us. Our platform, we are Celtic Culture, which is shining a light towards entertainment, diversity, and culture. So our entire platform is all about supporting independent artists, small businesses, entrepreneurs, community leaders, people that are really trying to make a difference. So we're really happy that we got to be involved in this project. It's something that we both are, find extremely important, especially just the mental health aspect alone. So anybody that's out there that's watching and wants to get involved with anything that we're doing creatively, or has some creative ventures they want us to shine a spotlight on, please definitely reach out. That's what we're here for. We love that so many people are able to use the arts to find their happy place, and to step outside of their box into the world that we live in.
So that was Celtic Culture, guys. They helped me co-host this event because they're amazing. And again, we've sat out and down by Friendship Park and had these conversations, and literally them telling me what we could do, and I'm going, no. literally said that, because I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be. But again, if you know something within you, I wasn't all that. It's just the expressive Adela. But it was, if you have that, we communicated, we conversated, and it was one of those where we wanted to be together to be here. So thank you so much, Celtic Culture. I need to go to Michelle. You're gonna go last because you're the most important person. So you're gonna give me your last speech on that stuff. Did Monique? Did you have raise your hand? I saw you raise your hand, or did you just wait for? And she said no, I did not.
No.
William, I have a question for you. You've seen. Okay, so you've seen me. So Will is so really quick. Will is good. I'm gonna put him on blast right now because I have to do something for my team tomorrow, and Will is gonna die because he's already died. Will has all kinds of little clips of me and my facial expressions, or my attempt at saying words. And Yolanda's trying to drink her Dr. Pepper over there. Will is dying. Nicole is over there back. So Will is going to be releasing tomorrow or in the next couple of days. I'm going to put him on blast just because I think it's hilarious. A more upbeat version of Adela and not all this seriousness that we've talked about.
Basically some outtakes. It's just some
Don't
classics.
talk about Yolanda, not yet. But it's outtakes of Adela, like what Adela's really like, okay, now when she's serious. So Will, one of the things I want to ask you is what has we've met, we met through a weird thing and weird phase, but what has your growth been, or what have you seen my growth be? Whatever, you know the question, I just said it.
Your growth. I mean,
please get it.
You've changed so much and for the better, and it's fun seeing the different stages that you've become and like blossomed into. And it's definitely like because it's not just growth. A lot of times it's like a build-up to something, and then that explodes, and that just kind of created something new. And then it's another build-up that's even bigger, and the explosion's even bigger the next time. Because to say, and I think that's really like just without all of this, because like to say it's just growth throughout life, I just don't think it's that simple sometimes. I think a lot of times, we put in the time, we put in the hard work and everything, and that builds up to a big moment, and it's an aha moment in our lives. And that's what I've seen you have so many of. And, it just explodes, and then it's like back to work, and then you build up to the next one. And that's something I've definitely seen with you for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Miss Nicole, same question goes to you. I want to point out some things on to some of my people really quick. So Will has been nominated for, I don't know, over dozens of awards for his films and his shorts that he's been a part of, okay? And I've been nominated and been a part of some of the projects we've all worked together. So we're all award-winning artists on here, just an FYI, guys. And the reason I say this to you, or whatever it is, that you claim the things you're doing. That's why we're doing this, right? Positive things about ourselves and asking these questions. So he has won so many things, and he's got so many things coming in the works. And I'm saying out loud, if you don't win an Oscar, I'm going to go ahead and slap them silly. I'm just saying, but that's Adela, but what do I know? And Nicole, really quick. Go ahead, my darling. What has your growth been over me?
So I haven't known you for very long. So it's been interesting to try and figure you out. Because you and I kind of met in a weird position and had to get to know each other kind of quick and get comfortable really quick. But it was easy. So we kind of have always acted like professional, but like we've known each other for a really long time. So I've kind of had to find out everything in like bits and pieces. But once I kind of knew who Adela was, you kind of, through this process of recording and exploring your own story, like I can see physical differences, and like the way that you talk is a little bit different. How your creative visions happen, and the hats that you wear, what you're willing to give up is a big growth step for you. And like I'm pleasured enough and honored enough to like have seen some of those things happen. And we're going to work together a lot in the future. So I'm just going to keep seeing those things happen. But your experiences have started to unearth some things about yourself that even you didn't know. And absolutely hog wild to see. I can't imagine. And like, I'm glad that you have a good creative team and you have a good group, a good support system around you for those moments. But you've grown emotionally, and you're starting to like physically remember things through this process. And so I'm glad that you've explored it. And I'm glad that you continue to grow. There are times that you've told me about where you were not so nice, and now I think you're very nice.
Shaking their head. Thank you so much. And we're gonna close off with Michelle, because I want that to be closed off with what she needs to say. But the reason why I asked these humans around me is because it is really, really important for you to ask the humans around you of the growth that they've seen in you. If you don't ask that question, I'll give you a quick second, AJ. And by the way, if anybody needs to go, please go, because we're past the time. We're just having conversations because that's just how it happens, and this is a spontaneous part of Adela, okay? So welcome. And if somebody has to say something, humans come first when it happens. So your time, sure, thank you. If you're staying, appreciate it. If you have to go, go. But these people who are here now, we're going to have a conversation. Anyway.
I'm going to have to do it. Yeah, just letting you guys know, I've got some work I got to get done tonight. So
I appreciate
you. Guys,
you.
it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. It's great talking to you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Will. You rock. Hey. Mwah.
Peace out, guys. Bye.
So the reason why I say that it's important you ask your people around you to see the growth in that is because we're so afraid to ask what someone thinks of us. So when we go, hey, what do you think of me? It's about, well, you're this and this and this and this and this and that. So like they have all this already list of what they've thought about you, right? But when you ask, hey, what's the growth you've seen in me over the last year or two? Like, what's the good thing you've seen me grow into? Then they can go, oh, whoa, okay. The things that Christina and Dom pointed out, I knew I knew that, like I knew completely, but I was trying to find the balance. And to see you say that, to hear you say that, it brings that solidification, just like when Will mentioned earlier of how I told someone else, like that validation in what you're doing. And like Michelle said, that validation. And it's not validation in, you're so great. No. It's in that you've seen the growth. You've seen me stop being so crazy, or you've seen me tone it down. You've seen this change that I wanted to do. And that's so important, because if you can't take them saying the good things about you, you're only going to continue to take the bad, because that's all you know. So it is uncomfortable to hear people say those things about you. And believe me, it is going to be uncomfortable to hear some of the comments and the things going to be said and all these things and to praise and all, like it is going to be uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, you got to know why you did it. And it's not for the uncomfort. It's not for the feeling of like for you. It's not about you. So those things, so ask them what you, because then they need to look at you and be like, Sydd, you know what I've seen since I've met you? I've seen you go from being so shy to when you speak, or to kind of in there with your rebirth, to be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and push just a bit more. And then when you've reached out to me in some things and we've had a conversations, I've seen you go, whoa, okay, I can see that. Let me rephrase that. All of us have the ability to see the change in a human being if we choose to. So please ask somebody around you, what's the good change you've seen in me? And if they can't find the good change they've seen in you, okay, then it's not that you're doing all the wrong either. It's that you haven't made them see that, because in your actions haven't been constant enough. Your word hasn't been constant enough. Your things haven't been constant enough for you to make that change, right? But vice versa for them too. You have to ask and do the same thing. And that's communication. And that's why I asked the guys to do that, because I respect their opinion and I respect their thoughts and their emotions and what they do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here for this long and have these conversations. But at the end of the day, it isn't about your opinion or your thought of me. It's the fact that, hey, check mark, I got better. Check mark, I got better. Check mark, I got better. I'm doing right. I'm doing better. I'm better. Okay, I'm doing
You've been
better.
verified.
Verified. I'm Gary V verified, right? I'm being Gary V verified, right? I'm gonna give AJ really quick because he wanted to say something. Go ahead, AJ.
I'll try to keep it short. I know we're kind of past the time.
You're good.
Say,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Say your thing.
Hi everyone. I'm AJ. If anybody doesn't know me. I've heard every single one of you talk. I had the the blessing of crossing paths with Adela. I kind of want to jump in on what Nicole, was saying, about Adela and all that. Before I say that, I just want to say thank you, Michelle, for sharing your, your expertise and all that. Salted culture, the same. I'm definitely going to follow you guys. Also, Mario, you have a beautiful story. And believe it or not, me personally, I think you're in that level that people need to hear you. You don't know how powerful your story will be for other people. You can save lives. That's what I'm trying to say. And Sydd, I couldn't bear to imagine or feel, what you felt when you got that phone call. I just wanted to say, today, you said that today marks that. I just wanted to say that, my prayers and my good vibes are with you. And I hope that, we can keep hearing more of you, because I was hearing you talk, and hearing you talk made me feel like empowering. You transmit something that helps heal, like soothe. So please always share your words. And then on what Nicole was saying about Adela, I probably don't know Adela as long as some of you, doing here, but the time I have shared with Adela, I have developed a artistic attraction, because Adela is just so deep. Like, I thought, on what Michelle said, if it weren't for, I'm an actor, if it weren't for acting, I don't know what would have been of me. We all have our past. But I thought that I knew, deep, passionate art, that passion. And then I met Adela, and it's like, whoa, Adela, you're amazing, and thank you for doing this, for sure. So I'll leave it at there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And everybody, thank you for sharing and joining. And everybody that's watching live, everybody that's watched the YouTube video, everybody that's watched the Facebook videos and the shares and all these things, leave your comments, right? Because what we're going to do is, if this is something that everybody's enjoyed, which I did and I loved, I would love to continue this, because this is part of that communication that we can't do right now, right, with COVID, and we can't do physically. But we were able to do that in January and February. And we were able to bring that together. And I was able to bring on a Reiki specialist, and she is an empath, an amazing spiritual healer, to have the same conversation, just like we had Michelle. I've been able to bring on other humans to share with you their expertise and the ability for maybe you finding some clarity, because that's what this platform is from. That's what Project Human is, the ability to create the human. So if you do like it, and if you enjoyed this, and once you've gone through this video and you enjoy this, please let me know, and I will absolutely make sure that we do this, because this is something that it matters to me. Like, again, I don't care, not that I don't care for the work we did, and Nicole and all of them know what I'm about to say. Not that I don't care for the work we did. We're fabulous. Great job. Yay, team, right? But what's after is what matters. What we do from this point on is what matters. Do we continue this, or we just be like, well, great job, great project, great this? So if this is something that you do want and you do enjoy and you do want to share and you do want to continue, please leave it in the comments. Please leave it on our website. Please sign up. Please go to any of those things, and any one of these people, anything, let us know, and we'll take care of that. Now I'm going to close this off really quick, and I want Michelle to go ahead and let us know just a few signs of what we together should look for, if we need to, of someone close to us, or even within ourselves, that we're falling into risks of depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts, and what would be the steps just to kind of do that, and then where they can follow you and find you and your work, and if they need help or any of that stuff, should they want to reach out to you. So please take a couple minutes and give us that.
Well, to add on to what you said a minute ago, please, no matter what platform, please continue the conversation. Please share the conversation. Open the conversation with people. Start the dialogue. Even if it's not somebody that you think might be in trouble, start the dialogue, because you just don't know. Because we are all like icebergs. We only have a small portion above the water. So much more is way beneath the water. And start the dialogue. Have the conversations with people about how important it is to be balanced in your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. It is so important. Some of the signs that you want to look for: isolation, people who are not reaching out, people who are not talking, people who are truly isolating themselves, sleeping a lot, not talking, not returning phone calls. Those are the people you really, really want to watch out for. Another thing is people who are talking about death a lot, talking about suicide, talking about how hopeless they feel. These are clear signs that somebody's in trouble. And there's so much help out there. So please, even if you're just going to offer a listening ear, please pay attention, listen attentively, so that you can be a sounding board for anybody who might open up, because it's so important that they feel like they can just be raw and be honest. And I would encourage everyone, anybody who sees this, anybody who's on right now, anybody who shares and gets to hear it through second or third hand, please live your authentic self. You cannot have true happiness with yourself if you are not living authentically to who you are. Whether you're an artist, whether you're a analytical person, whether you're a puzzle maker, whether you're, no matter who you are, please live your authentic self, because that's where you can truly find happiness.
Awesome. And where can they find you? Oh yeah,
if you want to reach out to me, it's okay. ElevateLifeStrategies.com.
Yes.
Very simple.
ElevateLifeStrategies.com. ElevateLifeStrategies.com, guys. Yes. Yep. So if you guys need that sounding board or need professional advice, again, pardon me, Project Human is just a platform to bring you this ability, because as we've talked about, resources or even just knowledge about these conversations is very limited in our communities. It is not accessible to a lot of people. We don't know about it, and we have to make that knowledgeable. Michelle went to, and I say this in the, Michelle went to school, put in her time to do what she does and where she's at best. We're supposed to be able to be like, you know what, sir, I know someone. Let me just make sure that, like, and if they don't work, she'll go, you know what, I'm not good because this is where you need to be. If we are just a sounding board in the direction, and that's what Project Human is about, is becoming that platform of that sounding board of direction, so that we have the ability to have this conversation, to share a story like we just shared with mine, to bring creatives to express for somebody who literally, like, didn't know. I didn't know I was an artist. I didn't know. I had no idea until I sat, like, who said Picasso? Who said Picasso over there? Somebody said Picasso. Until I sat there in front of the Met Museum 2 years ago and sat in front of Picasso and was like, this is home. This is home. There's no other place I'm going to be but like this moment right here. And if I can make this moment right here last forever in everything I do, man, I'm home. And that whole going home, your home has to be where you're going to go. Like, my home physically is to go home back to Bosnia, but my home is already here. Like, it's home. Find your home, find your sanctuary, find your authenticity in who you are. And that is what Project Human is. And that is what it's all about, building the pillars of people and the humans around us. Because if we can't do that, what are we living for? What is the purpose of all of us? And find that. And if you don't know, ask me. I do mental health days. How many of y'all have been on here with a mental health day for me? Go ahead, raise your hands. Every one of y'all that's on right now. Exactly. Mental health days are important, except you, AJ. You haven't done it yet. Mental health days are you, Sydd. I know, I'm putting y'all on the blast. But mental health days are important. And it's important to get in the car and sing a song of something you don't know. It's important to get out of your own lifespan, your own mind, your own spot, and get into someone else's for a minute. Again, not care about yourself. Genuinely, just stop caring about yourself for a minute and not like, oh my God, what do they think about me? And care about yourself, going like, I need to breathe. What do I like? What do I need to do today? How do I mentally feel? What do I want to be, and how do I want to feel? And if you want good energy, go around the people who have good energy for you. I promise you, they'll boost you up. And if they don't, they're not good enough people around you. And that's nothing personal. That's genuinely you making sure that you fill your soul with what you need. And if you can't fill it, go to the next one. It does not mean that that person is terrible or you're terrible, or it just means that it's not where you're supposed to be like this. The people
negative definitely attracts negative, and positive attracts positive.
So stay that, like, it's just, that is what cognitive behavioral therapy is. That is genuinely what it is about. It is about changing. For me, going saying, and some of you will know this, me going, I need to stop drinking coffee because I want to lose my little belly, sweet tea area around here, to the only thing I know I need to do is drink water, right? Like, that's going to stop it. I do not like water. But you know what helps me drink my water? A pitcher. John Lynn's laughing. But 4 of these a day, because it's right here, right? It's right here. I don't have to get up. I don't have to. So what works for you? I have to have water. I need water because of the things I want, and I don't want to get up and get it. Then you make yourself a pitcher of water and make your life easy. It's really like, it's not as hard, right, as we make it seem. But the change processes are because you have to accept every responsibility of your action and your reaction. And if you can't do that, then the outcome and of what you want, the consequences of what you want will never be what you want it to be. Because it's not, like, ultimately comes down, it's nobody's fault but your own. It doesn't matter the circumstances, it doesn't matter the details, and it's our job to make sure that we understand, okay, well, where did we kind of figure out, like, I missed that step? Oh, that's because, you know what, I didn't screw that really well. Like this, like right now, I messed up, and I'm the boss, okay? And I put in the wrong thing, it didn't click on there, whatever. Well, I know where I messed up, and my team was in there. Adela, boo-boo, Adela, boo-boo, right? And I'm like, well, we're just gonna stop this right here because we're just gonna continue with this conversation. But having that, again, there's nothing wrong with that. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do it. And having people to just put you in, you're good, rein you in. All right, like she's doing right now. See, that's where we got them. Everybody has a job. That's what they're supposed to do. Follow Project Human Incorporated, Think, www.think dash, right? That's the dash, right? Dash ing.org. I wanted to do that because I needed you to think and I needed you to think. So dash, guys, dash. And then email me at info@thinking-.org if you have any questions, want to share your story, want to be a part of this, or want to reach out to anybody here. We all have them on our social medias, and we'll share obviously all of this, so you'll have them. Anywho, thank you all for joining. Thank you live for watching it. Thank you for creating this with me. Thank you, and goodbye.